It's Friday, October 10th, 2025. All right, let's start as we typically do by reminding you that if you'd like to support our show, that you can go to supportourshow.com. And we did get another Patreon supporter. So what I'm going to do, because this is something that didn't even occur to me, this is how unfamiliar I am with the fact that people are supporting the show financially in a regular way. We've had one-offs throughout the years in different ways, but this is sort of new to me, and I've realized all this time that you really are kind of expected to, and in fairness, should put a kind of recognition of these people because they are donating money that they do not have to because we do not require it.
What if they don't want recognition?
Well, usually if they could donate anonymously, if they don't, there's an anonymous option. So I assume that if they didn't want something saying, thank you. So I'll put a little thing. I'll keep it within Patreon only. So I won't put it everywhere, but I'll put at the end of the videos that are going to come out, I'll just put us, thank you to our patrons, and I'll put a list there. That's all. Not going to be anything dramatic. I'm not going to have their home address and birthdays or anything. It's just thank you to whatever name is listed in Patreon, because if they don't want one, they can change it or they can say anonymous. So now it's not going to happen until the video coming out. It won't start until the December video. So if you don't want your name in there, just send an email or message me, however, and I will make sure I keep you out of there. You got plenty of time. You got over a month to let me know. I'll put a couple of reminders in each show just saying I'm going to be adding this on the off chance that you don't want your name there. So I have no problem leaving it out, but as I said, I would assume if people wanted to stay anonymous, they would say so or mark it or whatever. But it is a kind of a normal thing. And I just kind of didn't think about it because Patreon was sort of there's another outlet thing in the beginning. I wasn't really thinking that people would actually keep supporting it or get new people. I just didn't. I don't know if it's just easier than PayPal. Some people don't like PayPal. I understand that. There's kind of an inverse thing. Some people don't like Patreon. Some people don't like PayPal. So maybe the reason that we didn't have people before is because they didn't want to give PayPal and eBay their information, which I get. Didn't think about it, honestly. This is kind of all new, in a sense. Just not used to it at all. But I will put a little thing there. The November late night will be with Robin Ogden, who does our ending theme music and the theme music for the late nights. I got lucky there. There were several technical errors in that particular show, which is why if you watch the video version, you won't really notice as much in the audio version because the audio is clean. Audio was fine. In the video one, I think I said this last time, I botched my video, so you'll see my dog for about 30 minutes. I do have a little intro saying, get ready to see my dog for 30 minutes, and that's what you'll see. But fortunately, we hit some huge lag spikes in that show, but only one of them really affected what Robin was saying. There's one part where it lost probably, I want to say 12 words of what he said. The rest of them, which I was hoping Zoom would do, and it did, is it caught itself up. So you'll hear a little bit of choppiness, but all the fundamental words are there. It's just I cut out the spaces. So it'll just sound like there's a little bit of like stuttering to it, but I just cut out the gaps and all the sentences are pretty much there. So fortunately, 98% of the content is preserved. Audio side, not so much on my end, but you know what? My dog's better looking than I am, so you can look at my dog, and then I'll suddenly appear. But the audio part won't be have any effect with the video. And fortunately, in total, the content was preserved because the lag was just making it where the words had to catch up. But once I cut the spaces out, it's pretty much all there. So that's great. And then I'm going to... you know what? I won't talk about that yet. Well, I'm going to make sure it happens first. There is something funny that may be coming up for... When would it be? I guess it would be November. But I'll wait till it's actually done to make sure that I don't torpedo it somehow, because it's always possible. But anyway, November show will be Robin, and then the December late night should be the Lost Highway and Inland Empire double feature with myself and Doug. And then I don't know what's going to come after that. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I have sort of an idea for the next set of double features after that. But I'll let Doug weigh in on that before I make an announcement, because we said, okay, we've done a lot of weird stuff. Maybe we take a hard left into normal stuff, like a couple of just standard issue movies, or closer to standard issue movies, just to kind of do a palate cleanser for people who may not want as much of the weird stuff, because boy, oh boy, is Inland Empire something. It's easy to forget how just out there that movie is for 3 hours. Outside of the maybe 15 minutes of standard storytelling, which the more I read about Inland Empire, the more it makes sense. The only thing I really knew about that movie was that David Lynch shot it on consumer grade camcorder, so it's in standard definition. And then they did an upscale on it later for the Criterion version. But I didn't realize it was, no exaggeration, the whole movie came out of him calling up Laura Dern and saying, I've got a camcorder, do you want to experiment with it? And that's just what they did. He would just write pages on a day and say, we're going to film this. It doesn't matter if it fits, just whatever. And they would just do things. And that becomes very evident. So I credit his editing, since he did the editing. I think it's the only one he did his own editing on, where he directed and edited it. I credit him being able to fashion a somewhat coherent set of ideas into a movie that is clearly comprised of, I'm bored today, let's take my camcorder and do something. Which, hey, sometimes it works out. So, anyway, that'll be the December one. And I think that's it for show notes. I will be on the October 25th Trivia Halloween special for Heartbeat Hero Radio. I will be in makeup. I have to actually draw the makeup. My wife's going to apply it. I'm not going to go as insane as I did last time. Well, not in the same way. And then Doug and I will be on the November... I don't remember the date. That's once we get closer. We'll be on the trivia thing. So, and Doug's album will be out on November, I want to say 7th, if I got the date right. And my artwork is on it, so if you want to see it, it will be on there. I believe, here it is. Is it the 7th? 7th? Son of a bitch. I just had the damn date. I think it's the 7th. Damn it. I'll find out. I'll find out for sure. Oh, I'm not signing into Facebook. No! Anyway, I'll have it for next time. And that's it for the opening ramble. Yeah. Okay, if you're talking, I can't hear you. All right, I'm just making sure. I was like, all right, is he talking or is he just sitting there in stunned silence at the fact that I've been going on like this for 8 minutes? All right.
No, I like it when you go on and on, because it shows you that you can do this.
Actually, the trickiest part is not repeating certain interstitial phrases. That's my real point of concentration now, is not to repeat within a rambling mouth diarrhea thing the same kind of to not repeat them, which I'm doing better at. So I tend to do it more if I'm trying to actually debate something, but if I'm just in the background, I seem to be better at avoiding it. On that note, that ends your programming notes for this morning, evening, afternoon, late night. End of the month, beginning of the month, end of the year, beginning of the year, holiday, birthdays, off days, sick days.
Now I'm confused.
Personal days. I don't know I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm just going on. I'm just going on with reasons for different phases of different days of different times. Top of the hour, halfway through the hour, quarter 2, 5 after, 10 after,
having an event
10 2, 5 2. I might be. I don't know.
You know what? I'm very sad that it turned out the whole thing about North Korea nuking Israel over Greta Thunberg is like it's a satirical falsehood, because there was something really like, I don't know why I thought it was amusing, this idea of fucking North Korea.
I didn't know anything about that. I've tuned out so much. I haven't heard nothing about this.
Oh man, this was like a stupid thing that went around, and it's false. It's absolutely false, but it went around.
Well, I sort of figured if there was actual nuke, I would. Yeah,
North Korea had said that if Israel harms Greta Thunberg, that they would nuke Israel.
Really?
Yeah, but like it was, like I said, it's a falsehood.
So North Korea didn't say it at all, or people?
No, not at all. It's all bullshit. Okay. Yes, but
I was going to say that doesn't even make any sense.
Yeah, exactly. But it went around at first like it was. Like I saw it in a few different places and was like, "What?" I was like, but the thing is, I can't help but like the idea of it in a terrible apocalyptic kind of way.
Well,
know,
I'd like the idea of it as a thought experiment if it made any sense. But
it doesn't.
Would North Korea care?
I think that's exactly it. It's the fact that it doesn't. It's like honestly, if it were true, right? If it were true, it would mean that we had achieved full postmodern, like, new age chaos. Just like, okay. Yeah, for me, like that would basically mean like, okay, all bets are off. Everything is just fucking nuts at this point.
Well, I mean, we're not far, so it makes sense that it would.
No, we're close. That's the thing.
I didn't even
culturally
know this.
I think we're really close. I do love the fact that the courts turned around and told Trump that he couldn't deploy what do you call it? National Guard to Portland from from Washington State. Washington State, right?
Does it matter?
No. Hold on. So instead, he ordered California National Guard up to Portland.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing.
Because it went around that's the kind of culture we live in now. And honestly, it's not even about Trump. In general, I feel like we live in a culture now where we're in the Jurassic Park age, where it's like you're so focused on whether you can get away with it and do it that no one thinks about anymore the elements of whether you should.
No, it's the Loophole Olympics. It's really what it is.
Oh yeah. I mean,
it's
I
really
was just reading,
okay. How do we get around the law as written? That's all it is.
Yeah, Cory Doctorow just wrote an article for, I think, Guardian about the enshittification of Amazon, and he was going through the step-by-step process of how Amazon basically not only fucks over its customers, but also fucks over the people who sell through Amazon, the vendors, right? And how, I didn't know this, but apparently the charging the vendors who sell through Amazon for shipping actually pays for all Amazon shipping.
Yeah.
Right? So not just the shipping of vendors' products, but all of Amazon's products as well. I mean, it is really like a genius of bastardry.
Well, because I think they were smart that when the USPS first got into real trouble, they jumped in and said, "Hey, we'll make a deal with you. We will use you. We will use you for lots because there is stuff from Amazon that comes through the mail, and I'm sure there is a methodology to it, but it's one of the only things where occasionally the mail will deliver an Amazon thing.
In New Jersey, so there are counties in New Jersey where there's no mail on Sundays. Like everything is shut down on Sundays, right?
Except for that.
Well, hold on. But
for us, there is no mail on Sundays except for deliveries. That's it.
Yes, and that's the thing is that, but instead now you get deliveries from Amazon on Sundays.
Yeah,
which is the strangest thing. Yeah.
Well, that's I think what Amazon did wisely was they basically said, because there are Amazon delivery drivers that are their own thing, and what I would suspect, I have no evidence of this, or at least I've never read anything that confirms it. Let's put it that way. is I think what they've done is built sweetheart deals with UPS, FedEx, and the mail, saying, well, we will keep our fleet at 10% of our deliveries as long as you give us a 99% break on our delivery costs. And like you said, what they end up saving or charging, or in combination, pays for everything.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
really,
interesting.
they're an existential threat because of the way their drivers can work.
Yeah, because of
Any
the fees that they apply to vendors, that vendors then have to figure out some. I think I
Mm-hmm.
guess they get 49 to 51 cents of a dollar from a vendor goes to Amazon, right?
Sure.
And what ends up happening is that the vendor can't, you can't eat that. That's a fucking tremendous
Yeah.
charge, right? So then you either have to not be on Amazon, which gives you less exposure, or you have to
Right.
raise your prices in such a way that you make up for that. But then I guess there's also
Yeah.
rules in the book that say that you can't sell for less on your website if that's how much you're selling for on Amazon.
Correct.
So
Yes.
then you have to have higher prices on your website, which pushes people to go to Amazon. But you've already
Yep.
raised your prices anyway to make up for how much Amazon is raping you, which makes it so that we all pay more than we should be, essentially.
Yeah.
And I understand there's a whole convenience technology, our culture basically of people being like, I'll just order it and it'll be on my doorstep rather than wanting to get up and go out. I do hate the degree to which we are basically creating a Wall-E culture. If you haven't seen the movie Wall-E, you
Yeah.
should. Where basically the
Yeah.
humans have every convenience in their floating chairs, and nobody gets
Mm-hmm.
up anymore, and everyone just kind of slobs around in their chairs and has like food like in, basically like blown into their mouths.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, I feel like we're in that culture now where it's like people are like, I could get up and go to the store, or I could just, order it on Amazon and they'll deliver it to my front door tomorrow. And I'm like, yeah, we are losing reasons to like get up and go out. I find
Yeah.
myself becoming more and more of, it's not that I'm anti-technology, but I'm anti a very specific kind of technology. I'm anti the
Sure.
technology that basically turns us into like lazy, useless humans. You know, because these, yeah, man, the reality is that it's so easy to be lazy. It's so easy to just
Yeah.
not want to get up and do the work. You know, um,
Yeah.
and they make it so like easy to do that it's the whole
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you'd rather just order it online than actually go out, and then it doesn't help that when you go out it probably costs more as well, and you sit there and go, well, I should save the $3 in my time, and then
Yeah.
Amazon goes on. So yeah, it's a really
Yeah.
interesting article because Cory Doctor does get into the nitty gritty of like what it looks like, what the numbers look like, and how. I mean, they said something like, if you actually want to get the best price for like a run of the mill product, he was talking about batteries. He's saying you almost have to go down to like the 17th item in the list. He's like, that might be the closest to the best deal you're gonna get, because anything beyond that are people who have paid to be there, people who've paid for reviews, people who have paid for, you know, uh, basically, the whole Amazon says this is the best deal, like those kinds of things. And it is fucked up because there's a few.
Amazon's choice.
Yeah,
That's the
there's a
one. Used to
few.
be like America's choice.
If you like something weird and niche, right? Look it up on Amazon. And I only say that because I discovered that there were a few weird niche things that I like that are on Amazon. And they're at Amazon at very low, weird pricing. And then when I go to the website for these people, because I know it is niche enough that I actually know the source, I go and look at their website. It costs way more. And I'm sitting there going, oh my God. I was like, this is fucking awful, because this encourages you not to go to the source. And they're kind of stuck in this situation where like they need to charge this much because they can't. It's like everybody gets fucked in the process of dealing with Amazon except for Amazon, and it's lame because it's like, I remember when these people were just a bookstore, and you know what, they were a great bookstore, and they still are a great bookstore. As I said to my wife earlier today, I was like, you can't really fake books. Like, if you give me a poorly, I mean, you can give me not the book I want. That's not, but you can't give me a a bad copy of, I don't know, Ender's Game or something like that, right? Where you're like, well, it's a cheap copy. You know, it's not properly, um, what do you call it, bound or anything like that. I'm like, yeah, but it's still the book, right? I'm still getting the book. I can still read it, right? And in that respect, books kind of have a little more, I don't know, a little more sustainability in this situation, right? Whereas like name brand products, electronics, things like that, you can get the cheapest, crappiest version of that. You know what I mean? But at the same time, Amazon can push books by people that who you know whose products they publish and support completely, so that they get all the money for it. You know what I mean? There is that other part. So yeah, and that's the annoying thing is that when you get into these logarithms where they're just trying to push all this shit towards you, and you're sitting there going, how often does a logarithm read you so wrong because you just have a weird, um, a search history?
You're asking me personally?
Yeah, personally, yeah.
Well,
You
I've
know, to be
told you that I basically I feed a lot of white noise into it. So I will at least a few times a day I will search for things I would never search for. You know, like today
interesting.
I looked for pink bear balloons. I think was one of them.
Oh wow,
What
so
was the
you're
other
like, yeah,
thing?
so you're even more, you're even
Yeah,
more proactive about it than I am.
yeah, and so I get and the reason I do it is it actually I feel like because there are people. This is actually this is really interesting. You brought this up because I meant to talk about this before. There's this thing that a lot of people say, specifically within technology, because of course you have this idea that everything is listening to you, and in fact not everything is listening to you as you're saying. There's all these things that track you, and that's how they build a profile, and they understand how things work. And people share far more than they think they do in the course of an hour, forget a
And a
day.
lot and
And
a lot
so
can be inferred. There's
yeah, well,
yeah,
because
yeah.
people tend to act in patterns and rhythms the same way
Yeah.
over time, and so these things figure this out. And obviously there are things that are more geared towards that, like Instagram or Facebook, where they are, or even Google search, that are clearly ad driven and user information driven. But there are people who complain that what they really want is ads that are relevant to them. And that has baffled me since the first time I heard it, because I think what a lot of these people think about themselves, as is a common human trait, is they think they're more resistant to things. So they're almost trying to challenge the system because they're like, oh, I'd rather you show me something I might be interested in because I know I can resist that urge to buy. I just don't want to see something I'm not interested in. I'm the opposite. I'm aware that I am susceptible to marketing. It does work. I can't sit here and pretend I'm so enlightened that it'll never work on me.
No,
I'm like, I
listen,
want static so that
it'll work.
have no interest.
It works on all of us.
That's
That's
what I'm saying.
the problem is that some of this stuff,
Yes.
man, you know, I just had a conversation with this in an academic setting about bias and how
Yeah.
there's a really great book called "You Are Now Less Dumb," which is not the end all be all on bias at all. But it's a good place to start if you've never really thought about it, and then go on from there to read scholarly works. But it gives you a good overview of kind of the realm of bias and how it affects us, and this idea that we are very often not in control of our biases. In fact, yeah,
Yeah. Of
we were
course.
talking about in an academic setting, if somebody comes to you and tells you that a group of students are for lack of a better phrase, like the dumb kids, right? You're gonna sit there and go like, well, I'm not gonna treat them that way, like fuck that. But it doesn't matter because you've already been pre-prepped, like it's in your head now, and
Yeah.
you will to some degree
Well, okay.
you're gonna have to actively work against that.
The very internal statement of that is itself a reflection of a bias.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I
Somebody
mean,
already
I think some people don't even realize that.
Yeah, somebody has a bias and they're trying to share that bias with you, which then creates a bias in yourself that you're going to have to work against. And some people don't
Yeah.
realize that they have these biases functioning in them, and then they don't catch when they do things. I mean, like politics is a great example of this because it's the whole, you can say whatever you want as long as you make it like an apology. I mean, to use a newspaper term, you make an apology on like page 10 or page 6 or something like that, right? You're never
Mm-hmm.
going to apologize on the front page, but you can say whatever the fuck you want on the front page and then apologize after the fact. But
Yeah.
most people don't read the apologies.
No.
So that's why you can come out and you can say stuff like, oh, or you could say, somebody likes to fuck horses, right? And you're like, oh my god, he does. And then like, next week and come out and be like, no, you know what, that was an unfounded comment, and we've already apologized. So and so clearly does not fuck horses. Or you can come out with comments like, so and so should say they don't fuck horses. Why haven't they come out and said they don't fuck horses? Right? And it's because it's a ridiculous statement. Why should somebody have to? I mean, you would have to come out and basically start denying all these things that you clearly do not do. And in the denial, people then sit there and go, well, why is he coming out and saying that he doesn't fuck horses? What's going on here that I don't know about?
Well, that's the classic. When did you stop beating your wife?
Exactly.
I
Yes.
didn't.
Exactly. But it doesn't matter because the second it gets brought up in the conversation, now you've created this bias and people are thinking about it. Right? And it works like to a positive and a negative. I mean, you can convince people that you're some kind of fucking genius, and if it gets enough momentum, then people will think, oh yeah, it's because he's a genius, and you're like, no, he's not. Like Elon Musk had this for the longest time, where Elon Musk was trying to sell himself as fucking like Tony Stark, Iron Man, and it took a long time for like I mean, there's people who are like still true believers of the muskiness, but there's other people that are like, you know what, Musk is just a really good. He's really good at fanfare. He's really just good at like being like, "Hey, look at me! Look at me! Look at all the stuff I'm doing!" And people get excited, right? But then no one actually stops to be like, "Yeah, but your products are shit, dude. This isn't working." But again, fanfare, build up a momentum. I mean, I fear that we live in a culture that is very smoke and mirrors at this point, and I do stop sometimes and sit there and think, so what's really going on? Like, if you were able to kind of yeah, what are we really like anymore? Like if you don't know what the truth is and you don't know, and everybody believes different shit. I mean, have we really come that far if you think about it? I mean, if you go back to like let's go back to Rome. Or no, let's go pre-Rome because Rome had a way of getting everybody in line. Let's go back pre-Rome, right? And you look at the world. Everybody had all kinds of weird ideas about shit. You go to different eras, there was different ideas. Everybody had stereotypes. Everybody had, there was all information was localized, and otherwise you didn't trust anybody else. And if somebody showed up from a far off land, you already had either you had no idea what the fuck they were, or you already had an idea like, oh, I don't know. He's a Chinaman. He's lazy. He's a Hispanic. I mean, there was no Hispanics in pre-Rome. He's a Spaniard. He's gonna steal your lover. I mean, like whatever bullshit thing that might come up. But we're getting into this culture now where I feel like we're getting as separated as we were in older times because now nobody wants to go beyond what they want to believe. So rather than not having access to information at this point, people don't want the information because they want to believe what they want to believe. And when you actually try to counter them with genuine information, it's very few people that are going to follow you down that rabbit hole. Most people just want to be contentedly left with their illusions up until the moment of their demise. I mean, we're dealing with that to some degree on a global scale with global warming, where everyone's like, that's all bullshit. It's not a thing. And you're like, have you looked at the water levels? Have you looked at the sea levels, guys? And you sit there and you go, how far will this have to go before somebody on the other side of the or anybody in power with something to lose is going to sit there and go, we should really do something about this. I hear there's a lot of science behind it. I mean, what are we like 60, 70 years from that? I don't think it'll be in our lifetime, to be honest with you. But you sit there and you wait and you go, I mean, how long is it going to take before some of you figure out that, you can't eat money, you can't fucking float on money, you can't, I mean, if there's no land, what is the point of your money? I think that we've gotten so overwhelmed by our focus on a culture of the dollar that I think by and large a lot of people have forgot, you know, and not to use a Conan phrase, but what is good in life, you know, what is best in life. Um, we have these ultra mega rich that are like racing to the top, but this goes back to that whole question of like what is the point of capitalism, right? Like, okay, so you have all the money in the world, what then? Like, does that make you happier? Does that make you better? Does that mean that you're guaranteed a top spot in some whatever afterlife you believe in? I was like, or just, everyone hate you. Or do you need that money to pay people to like you? Right? Like, um, but what are we as a people like anymore without that? What are we as a people without the internet? Um, or have we always been assholes? And this is just makes it more easily readily available. I feel like the internet makes it so that we can more readily share our illusions with each other and find our peers, our illusionary peers. You know what I mean? So that we can all kind of like insulate ourselves. But nobody seems to want to. Nobody wants to stop and just take a consensus and be like, hey guys, there's some shit here that regardless of whether we see eye to eye is gonna kill us as a species. You know, um, and it does make you wonder, like, it does make you wonder if I was never one of those people that I like the idea of the first people, right? Like there was advanced cultures before on this planet, right? But I never used to. I'm a huge skeptic of most things at this point. I want to believe, seems like fun, and like I want to believe in the first people thing, but not for a good reason. I want to believe in it because it makes sense, this idea that a culture, if it doesn't philosophically go the right way, basically just destroys itself. It just destroys itself and it gets wiped out. And then, like, depending on what level of technology they were at, there's not really much left. I mean, I think we've talked about this before, like, New York City. How long before New York City would just be gone? Like, just completely gone, that you wouldn't even fucking recognize it. Where it'd just be like maybe a few steel beams. Isn't there a show that was all about that? That was like just over the top, but like it was life after humans or
Yeah, I
something like
think it
that.
was. Oh man, it
Hold
was
on.
like Earth After People.
Yeah, how
I think it
long
was.
before New
I don't remember.
York
Was it? It wasn't. I mean, Life After People. Here it
would
is.
be gone?
Let's see. Urban Decay. Where's the first one? I think the first one was on New
It
York
was really
City.
it was really overproduced.
Okay, here. If humanity disappeared.
Oh wow, here you go.
Oh, it
There's a whole
doesn't remember.
article on Popular Science titled "In a World Without People, How Fast Would New York City
Hmm.
Fall Apart?" Here's the timeline, and
I
and
mean,
and this and
it
the
would flood
subtitle
pretty
is,
quick because of all the stuff that's just getting rid of the water.
"Oh yeah, yeah. In a
So there's
week, in
that.
a week, mold moves in. In a century, New York is a
Yeah.
forest."
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's that kind of thing. Is that
Well, okay. Now that's the interesting part, though, is you said like just beams. I think that would
yeah.
take longer, but would it be overtaken by nature? Of course, it would be very
I
quick
know,
because all the water would give
but if you think
growth.
about it, in like look at the time from the dinosaurs. Like, how far are we from the dinosaurs at this point? How many hundreds of like? Hold on,
I don't know. I'm not good
hold
at that
on.
stuff.
How
Millions, millions of
far
years.
are we
Which age? The last age? I don't know.
dinosaurs?
Because I mean, I know the
We
cavemen and
are we
rocking
are
dinosaurs. So
66 million years removed from the extinction of
yeah,
the non-avian dinosaurs. It's very specific, right? So, what if tomorrow we wiped ourselves out? What would be left of us 66 million years ago? Like, would they only? I mean, would even like the stone ruins of like ancient culture still be there? Because I mean, we don't build in stone anymore. We build in fucking plastic and like wood and plaster. And I mean, like, wouldn't most of our culture just be gone?
I honestly don't know because I don't know. I don't know enough about. There's different types of stone. There's different types of environments. Some things permeate or persist longer. Some don't. So I don't know if because here's another thing to think about.
Yeah,
If all the humans just vanished, if we all
yeah.
went away, I believe that the actual weather and ecology would change. So if it
Yeah, oh yeah.
reverts to a non-human ecology,
Yeah,
what does that do to human-built structures? I don't know. I mean,
I'm
plastic lasts forever, but
I'm going to
you know.
read. I'm going to read some stuff I found here online. Now, this is just from people theorizing like us, but like people who thought about a little bit more of this than us. Which is essentially, let's see,
Which means they thought it all.
they would be very few human bone fossils left. So much like the dinosaurs, right? Steel used in construction would have a demineralized into the surrounding soil, recycling itself back into the Earth's strata layers. Concrete would be pulverized and commingled into soil. Nuclear stores would still be potent and viable, though their envelopes of steel would have disintegrated millennia ago. There you go. Uh, let's see. Digital data wouldn't have made it either, as years of magnetic degaussing and temperature changes would have corrupted any data left on storage devices that survived. Yeah, for the most part, after a couple of ice ages and catastrophic climate changes mixed with the test of time, would have rendered us utterly forgotten, possibly. And you know what? Like, this is another person's opinion, but like, it is kind of viable. Like thinking about that, you're like, yeah, that there's a. It makes me think, of the ways that we would kind of degrade and be lost. And it makes an argument for this idea that, yeah, you know what? If there had been other cultures on this planet, right? Let's say there was some kind of culture before the dinosaurs, right? Some intelligent culture. Or fuck it, what if the dinosaurs were intelligent and they just fucking died out? They just their world was destroyed, right? If they had an advanced enough culture like our own, would anything be left but their fossils? I mean, and it says a lot for us that, the direction we're kind of going with this shit, we're I don't know if we're going to be here in 66 million years. You know?
I would be skeptical.
Well, I mean, that book Year Million, where they're like, what will we be like in a million years? And most of those are either we're gone or we're, advanced tech lords wandering the universe. And it's like, I don't think so. Don't get me wrong. I think that some of us might become advanced tech lords. But the funny part about that theory about the, I'm Bob and I'm a god, right, is that just because you have the money to turn yourself into that theoretically doesn't mean you have the personality to want to do that. I mean, do you think Jeff Bezos wants to fucking leave his body around and become some kind of nanotech goo to wander the universe? I mean, and what happens when you ascend into some kind of uh uh post-human being who suddenly doesn't have a lot of the flaws and or weaknesses that as a human you have, you know it's like, what if
Well,
you
this is
become
kind of what we
worse?
got into in that show, right?
Yeah, what if you
If
become
you
worse?
start
What
to
if you become
lose
better?
that human need for things
But
and
it's gone.
wealth
That's the
and the
thing,
petty,
that
yeah, then
human
yeah.
need for things is based in a human body.
But your earlier question to answer it about, well, do you think Jeff Bezos wants to become a blob?
Yeah,
I have over time come
yeah.
to truly appreciate what boredom will do to rich people. So if they've run out of every other thing to do, if they have
Yeah.
expended every other deviance, human extravagance, expenditure of wealth, item of ownership, and somebody comes along and says, well, the only frontier left is to shed your mortal coil and become this, I think some of them would. I think what these people are mostly doing is trying to evade boredom because their souls are so empty or whatever their internals are.
Yeah, yeah, and
And that's what
I
they're
mean,
doing.
and I hate to make a statement saying that their souls are empty, because I mean,
Well,
one of the soul is kind of a vague statement,
whatever.
but I don't know. But yes, you would think that with that level of wealth, you go one of two ways.
Yeah.
Either you're self-grandizing, right? Or you want to look around and make the world a better place, right? And I mean, we've just talked about Amazon and its in shitification. And Musk isn't interested in making the world a better place. In fact, most, I'm going to go on a limb and say most people of fabulous wealth aren't really that interested. In fact, the last
Yeah.
time anybody did anything that surprised me was when Bezos' wife gave like half of her fortune away to charities. I was actually surprised by that. You know, and it's actually kind of funny because was it J.K. Rowling before she basically became the anti-trans person in England? She was known for giving a massive amounts of her wealth to charities as well. Do you know?
Sure. Yeah.
So it is always fascinating the people who do
But
achieve
keep in mind,
that. Yeah.
Without knowing the true reason for why they do things.
Oh yeah,
I'm
it might have been a
hesitant
tax break. Yeah, I know.
Oh well, okay. Oh, you went really practical with it. I went in. Maybe they believe that's how they buy their way into heaven.
Oh, if they're religious, yeah.
Well, or they look at how much terrible things they've wrought in their accumulation of wealth, and they think they can offset it just karmically.
Yeah.
I
Maybe.
I attribute benevolent altruism at the very end of my reasons why these people do things. It's always
Well,
I'm always going to be
listen,
on the pessimism side of the thing.
Yeah, and that right there, it's a bias. There's a pessimism
Oh, it
bias.
is.
Yeah.
Oh boy,
But
is it?
you know what?
Yes.
My wife said to me the other day, though, she's like, pessimism is kind of bad. And I said, yeah, but pessimism sometimes is a reaction to reality. I was like, if you get punched in the face by the first 50 people, by the time you get to the 51st person, you're going to put your guard up. If you haven't put your guard up yet, you were an optimist for the first 50 people. Now you're a pessimist. And it's like, and to some degree, that's earned pessimism. I don't like needless pessimism, but earned pessimism, there's a place in culture for that. Especially in politics, I think there's a place for that, for people to be like, hey, you know what? You fucked me over before, and you're not going to fuck me over this time. But I get upset because I think people walk around and act sometimes like shit happens in politics, and they have the gall to be surprised. But they're like, I can't believe they did that. And you're like, really? You can't believe they did that? Okay, sure.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
Nobody thinks that people are paying attention to them. I've realized.
Yeah.
No one thinks that people are tracking them, and I find that.
Well, and you see, that's exactly where I'm going with it, which is it's a way to generate attention.
Which part?
Why some of those people, I think the donations are that so people can.
So they can get attention.
Wow, how
yeah.
generous.
No, and that is a possibility. Yeah, that is very much a possibility. But we're kind of in a no-win situation right now. I don't know how we're going to end up. Because, you read history, and there's been dark times like this before. Someone recently said that they were like, isn't this the worst that it's ever been? And I was like, I don't believe that at all. I think it's always been this bad. Just the idea of thinking that this is the worst that it's ever been is very sort of self-centered. To think that you're special enough that you're existing in the worst time of life on Earth. Right?
Well, I kind of...
No,
I think that's a more complicated answer than saying that it's not the worst it's ever been. I think you can't just give it a yes or no answer.
No, I think listen, there are parts of the world that get better and there's parts of it that get worse, but I think that it's always been this bad. Somewhere at least. But the thing is that
okay. There is a difference in that. Let's go 100 years back.
Yeah.
Let's go pre-mass media.
Got it.
Right?
Yeah, no meds.
It may have been that bad somewhere, but someplace else where you were. Well, but that's you're proceeding from a place of presumption of a knowledge of something that doesn't exist. Not everybody needed vaccines. Some people naturally lived long lives.
Oh, yeah,
so if you were in one of these, like this Mediterranean zone, places where
zones.
long life
the blue
and
zones.
The blue zones, right? Yeah. Before you knew that there was mass genocide in other countries, before you knew that there was female mutilation in this country, before you knew there was still legalized slavery in this country.
Yeah, but doesn't
your life was pretty good?
But doesn't that make the argument that it's always been this bad? It's just not consistent throughout the planet.
No, because people's awareness, I think in terms of mental stress,
so what you're
worse.
saying is that you think it's worse because people actually have access to the information?
Because they know now things that there was a benign ignorance that used to exist.
So you're making the solid argument that life is worse now than it's ever been before because we're so aware of just how bad it is on a global scale.
I'm saying it's not as simple as saying it's always been this bad. I'm not saying yes or no objectively. I'm saying that perspective
you're
is a factor.
leaning toward the fact it's worse now because we know about it.
Yeah, well, because, okay, take my parents or your parents. When they were younger, they didn't know about, I don't know, what is it, saturated fats. They didn't know about microplastics because there wasn't as many plastics. It was more stuff in glass.
They were worried about lead and asbestos.
My mother wasn't worried about lead. She didn't know shit about it. They
didn't
care.
No, but that's
what I'm saying.
That's the stuff that was killing them.
Well, sure, but they didn't.
They didn't know, so it's okay
about it. Not that it's okay, but there is perceptual.
It's not a stress. Worseness. It's not a stress if you don't know about it. Is that what you're saying?
So are people doing worse because they know there's so much that's stacked against them?
Well, they're more stressed about it, I guess.
Yeah, and that takes a toll as well.
If they even read it, I mean, that's the other thing too. Is that just because information is out there? I mean, listen. I've heard some weird shit in the last in the last
5 minutes.
2 years. Yeah.
every 5 minutes.
You know, and you sit there and you go, well, that's not true. I mean, listen, we were just talking about the fucking North Korea thing with Thunberg, and it's like, that's not true. Yeah. And when I read it, I laughed, and then I immediately was like, this isn't true. And I went and I looked it up, and it was like, it wasn't true. But you know what? There is a population of people that are walking around thinking that if Israel does anything to Greta Thunberg, North Korea is going to nuke them, and they might even be losing sleep over it.
Here's an interesting thing, which there is absolutely no way to actually know unless somebody's studied this, and I don't think they could have, because again, you'd have to have had precog knowledge of social media and the internet, which I doubt anybody really had until it happened. Is okay. Again, go back pre-mass media.
Yeah.
Or actually, you don't have to go pre-mass media. Go to where there was just general awareness of the world.
Yeah.
Would such a story be believed by as many people as deeply? I don't know the answer, but my suspicion is that there was a point where people applied a form of common sense more rigidly. Not everybody. There's always been gullible people. There's always been suckers. But I think one thing that is somehow or some way tied into I would call it late mass media, not the early stuff, because there were, journalistic standards which were aspired to. Okay. I'm not saying that that objective whatever ever existed. It did not. But there were things aspired to.
Because I looked some stuff up while you were
talking. I haven't finished what I was saying yet, but go ahead.
Oh, go on then. Go.
So what I was going to say is I wonder if we have been somewhat conditioned by the fact that we can isolate ourselves into these more, I guess, targeted echo chambers. Are people quicker to just jump to believing something as opposed to at least thinking about it for 5 minutes? I don't know. It may not be, but it's something I wonder about, because you do get these, like you said, these weird pockets of like North Korea. I'm sure there are people who absolutely believe that and started calling for us to just destroy North Korea before they destroy or whatever. Whereas I don't know if it was always that severe. I'm sure some form of it has always existed. But this is the amplification effect. That's what I feel is different. The amplification effect is different.
Propaganda has always been around. That goes back,
of course.
There are examples of that beyond ancient Rome, right?
Sure.
And there's always been liars. That goes back forever.
Oh, that's for sure.
Because was it Ramses the Great of Egypt exaggerated his military victories and inscriptions and monuments to boost his reputation, which really fucked up archaeologists because they're sitting there going, "Wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense." And then you know how bad it is. There's a really great example of there was a dig in Egypt, and I can't remember what it was, but there was a thing in there where they found a tablet, and the tablet had been faked to be older, but it had been faked to be older in the times of antiquity. So somebody 700 years ago had faked this tablet to look like it was like 1,000 years old.
Sure.
Right? and now we're digging it up and we're confused because at first you're like, oh, this is a 1700-year-old artifact, and then you're like, no, it's not. This doesn't make any sense. And then you realize it's like, yeah, even then people were faking shit. Like,
Yeah.
I think we've always been liars for gain. I think we've always been liars. I think there's always been like a group of people in this culture that, and maybe much like maybe the human race needs liars because it's a special skill that some people have used to get ahead, right?
Yeah,
But
I
as
don't
for
know
the
if
whole
I'd
thing
say
about
needs,
information, what's that?
I don't know if I'd say needs, but we are
Oh,
inherently
we've always
biased
had them
towards it,
then.
it seems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is,
I mean, deception feels like it's most at service in warfare and skullduggery, which I don't know is something we need, but it does feel like they are tied together.
yeah. But the
Sorry,
thing
go
is,
ahead.
we have always somebody has always wanted to manipulate public opinion,
Sure.
and a person in power in an area has always wanted to basically use their abilities to make people believe a certain thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then people believe it, and then they don't, and what you're talking about is basically like a common sense, right? I don't think we've ever had common sense. I think common sense is a
Well,
myth. I think some people have it,
I
but I don't think it's common.
I said a form of it. And what I mean by that is not what most people refer to as common sense, because common sense doesn't exist. I agree with you. Common sense assumes that there is a hive mind that everybody pulls from, and there is not.
Yeah, or
But
there's
what
like
I
an
mean
automatic
is,
bullshit filter.
there are things that we instinctively, from whatever experiences we've had and whatever things we've intaken. Okay, perfect example. Most people, if they're walking along in the woods and they look down and there is a dark hole that they cannot see the bottom of, most people will not think, oh, it's just a really dark puddle of water and I'll wade through it. Most people will throw something into the hole or circumvent it. That's not because there's a sign that says dark hole in front of you.
No. Is it a hole or is it full of water? Is it a pond?
How do you know? If it's dark, water can look black.
So
there's black ice.
Okay, so this is at night. So we're not sure.
It's at a point where I'm just saying
people,
that you can't
most
tell.
people would go around it. Yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
This is like, but we know that there are people today who follow GPS coordinates into a lake.
Into the ocean. Yeah, I don't understand that.
Well, this is what I'm saying is there is such a thing as a form of common sense that exists, that most people will look at that thing and they'll see the edge of the world and ocean coming towards them, and they will stop and pull over.
So
and
you're
say, wait a
saying
second.
is common sense is knowing not to drive your car into the ocean because the GPS told you to.
Like I said, I don't like the phrase common sense, but it's the closest.
No, but that's
form of it.
That's the pop culture phrasing for it, right?
Yeah.
And listen, you know what? I agree with you. That should be the line. Like we should at least
and I think most people do have something of that because otherwise more people will be driving into the ocean. It is a rare thing still in comparison to how many people use GPS either on their phones or through a dedicated thing or their cars. Yeah. It is still rare that you hear that somebody drives into the Atlantic trying to get to Atlantic City and they took a wrong turn. Right? It's not that. We don't hear about it every fucking week. And then you would start to go, wait a second, there's something really bad happening here. So there is some form of that does,
But I think that's going to get worse because as the dependence on technology becomes as we get more lazy and we have a greater dependence on technology, I think at some point in the future, people will just be like, well, of course I'm going to walk into the ocean. Siri said it was Siri said it was okay. Down the road.
That then concurs with what I'm saying about it maybe is a little worse than it was. Not in terms of certain elements, but in terms of what is being done to us by our dependence on certain things.
Do you think we've replaced real psychotic religious ferocity with by and large sort of internet belief? Do you know what I mean?
I don't think there's any difference.
You think they're the same thing?
They are the same thing. You're just worshiping a God that doesn't say it's on a throne somewhere. Instead, your God is on a Reddit post or whatever. It's the same. But if you're not questioning what is being told to you and you're going by it in terms of your it's what's the difference?
It's funny too because the art of questioning is so important, and I know that it's annoying. I know that it it presents you as a
Oh, you
pain
mean
in the
critical
ass.
thinking stuff?
Yes, critical thinking. Yeah, the
Well,
ability.
the problem that the problem
Yeah.
with that phrase too, I've started to really kind of grind my gears on that one too, is because I feel like people have now weaponized that as well. Where it's like everything has to be everything. There's no such thing as experts. They're elites. There are no experts. There's no authorities. Only I,
Well,
myself, because I researched something on a 4chan forum. I am the expert. Therefore, why I must never question anything. It's
no,
like,
no.
okay, man.
I know, but
Come on.
I believe that we should question everything. But in questioning everything, it means that you go and you find the best sources you can that are backed up by,
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's
experts.
what you're talking about is a step past what most people consider critical thinking now. Most people will use critical thinking. What they mean is, I just don't believe what I'm being told by anybody.
Like doctors hate when you get second opinions. But as far as I'm concerned,
Sure.
you should get second opinions because people get things wrong.
Okay,
And-
I'll tell you something. If you have
Yeah.
a doctor that hates that, find a new doctor. Mine doesn't.
Oh yeah.
That
That's
is
what I
not
mean.
universally true.
Oh,
if your
yeah.
doctor
I mean, I told you-
is
I
warning
told
you
you-
off of second opinions. Get the
I
fuck
told
out
you
of
about
there.
that doctor who basically would like diagnose me, and I would be like, that doesn't seem right. And then they would show me a video of what would happen if I didn't listen to their diagnose. I told you about that, right?
Oh yeah, there are bad doctors.
Yeah.
Let's
And
not
I was just
pretend
like,
there aren't.
okay,
There are
dude.
bad
I was
doctors.
like, I'm sorry. I was like, you can fuck off now. I'm good.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
There. If you ever get a even mild spidey sense tingling about your doctor, don't resist that. Get out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just find another doctor. Say
because the thing is,
you know what?
I'm not
I just remembered I
saying-
left my stove on, and get the fuck out of there and go.
I'm
somewhere.
not saying that your doctor is not informed and may have far more information than you on a subject. But if something doesn't feel right, then you know what? Get a second opinion. And if the second person says, no, that tracks, then maybe you can trust the first doctor. Or stick with the second doctor. It's up to you. But I do think it's okay to question things. I just think that if you're going to start questioning things, question everything. Don't give one group a pass and be like, well, they're so cool that I'm not gonna question them. It's like, no. Question everything. Find the sources. Listen, North Korea is not gonna bomb Israel over Greta Thunberg. But there are people out there who believe that, who didn't look it up.
Well,
And that took
hold
2
on.
seconds
Now,
to prove wrong.
Let's make sure we lay this out correctly. If you hear that, find out if that makes any sense in terms of why they would do it. Because if I saw that story, the first thing I would think is I would be like, wait a minute.
You'd be like, what?
Does North Korea like Greta Thunberg at all? And I would
you know
look
what?
for any
I'll be-
evidence that
I'll
they
be-
were super fans. I don't know.
I'll
Maybe
be
it's a Taylor
honest
Swift
with
thing
you.
for them.
I read it, and the first thing that popped into my mind was, is this about global warming? I was like, does North Korea, are they big on global warming? And I was like, no, this is fucking bullshit is what this
no,
is. Yeah.
but the thing is, that could be. There are weird paradoxes. where
I'm
it
sure,
could be,
but
for
the
all
thing
I
is-
knew,
yeah, but
that
I
Kim
proved-
Jong Un loves global warming as a cause. I don't know.
I proved it wrong, though. Therefore, I know that it's
Well,
not
sure.
true. But the key thing is, you should look these things up. We should all do the research. Don't just take the lies.
After you said that, I did a quick search, and I just
Yeah.
looked to see if MSNBC, CNN, or Fox News mentioned it, and none of them had. And I went, okay, well, then this is
No.
nothing.
This
If
was an internet.
None
no,
of
this
them
was
care.
No, it was an internet thing. That's what I'm telling
Yeah,
you. It
so
was
that's what
going
I'm
around the
saying. That's
internet.
what I mean.
And it was,
That was a
and I
basic
saw it, and I'm
search.
like, oh, this is fucking bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah. If none of the big three, in terms of we need you to read our stuff to, be engaged, cares, then nobody cares.
But even then, sometimes you read stories. This goes back to the whole bias where they'll come out and they'll be like, so and so, it is really a werewolf, and they'll be like, I'm sorry, on page 10, they'll be like, werewolves don't exist. We're very sorry that we said that.
Oh yeah. Well, no,
It's
you're
like
right. That's
damage is
been
done
a
because
long.
now people are walking around believing that so and so is a werewolf.
Well, that's the you can't make a you don't have a second chance to make a first impression. It's the same thing with news stories. If there's a headline, and a week later on the 80th page they put a small block of text that says, "Oh, we may have been wrong about that." Nobody cares. That was the thing with the black plastic. Remember, there was a thing with black plastic. If it's black plastic, you'll have cancer in 15 minutes or whatever. And they came out and said,
was
no.
it something like it's so much worse or something like that?
Yeah, it was more
remember.
toxic than any other type of plastic. And sure enough, they then put a correction saying, no. That's not what our research showed at all. It showed one connection, but it wasn't causation. It was association. And those things, even that, just trying to get people to understand what association and causation are
Oh yeah.
People don't want to engage with that. They just they hear something and they think it's
Correlation
it.
is not causation.
But also association. That's another one. And I wasn't even aware of that particular aspect of it until this thing happened with there was something, the Tylenol and autism thing. The very person who found the association said, I'm not saying stop taking it. I found an association. I did not find any evidence it causes it. There's just something we noticed. We have to check.
I know. And they were just looking,
And
they were
instead
just
it went
looking,
to-
they were just looking for a big win.
Yeah, well, Secretary Wormbrain says bad, so it has to be bad. That's how it goes.
Oh God. Fucking.
I mean, that's not even making it up. That's
No, I know
it's
he had a parasite. I know. That's but what
No,
I mean is
he said he had a worm. I'm taking him at his word.
so
Man.
it's just so comically, hilariously bad at this point.
Yeah.
Like, and I know, and I don't believe it's the worst it's ever been, because there are plenty of times in history where things have been really bad. But you know what? I do accept your argument that the fact that we are more informed now makes it feel worse. This is almost like the humidity makes it feel hotter, right? The humidity is far worse than it's ever been.
We have identified a fundamental problem with what we're talking about, which is the phrase "it's the worst it's ever been" is meaningless. What are you saying when you say it?
Well, what
And
part?
I mean
What
you.
part?
I mean anybody.
What
you have
part
to
is the
define
worst?
what you're talking about.
Well, and this goes
We've
back
said
to
this
defining
before.
your terms.
Yes.
Yeah.
So is it the worst? I don't know. What is it?
Yeah.
So you tell me what it is, and we can have a discussion on it. You tell me it. Yeah,
What
exactly.
is it?
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's what you should just have a little button that plays that, and it's like, well, when you're gonna phrase it like that, what is it? Is just what plays, right?
Oh, I know. God, we're so annoying, aren't we?
We're the
like
worst.
the worst.
We're the fucking worst. We are.
I say this to my wife all the time, where I'm like, I must be a pain to hang out with. And she's like, no, you know how to have fun. She's like, but when people get serious about shit, she's like, you do tend to question the hell out of them. And I'm like, yeah, because I just want to know. I just want to make sure that you know what you're talking about, and that I know what the hell you're talking about.
You shut the fuck up!
That's usually the reaction.
Should be the natural response. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or
Fuck you!
that too.
Yes, it's that as well. Yeah. Okay. I'm tired. Let's do movies.
Come on, show me your dick.
Anyway. Oh, is that it? Is that it? That we're going into movies? Okay, hold on.
I think we should. Do you have anything else?
Sure. No. No,
Make me feel better. Let's talk about movies.
All right.
You shut the fuck up!
Thanks for killing my mom.
No problem.
See, white girls bore me.
You can eat shit and die, Colonel.
Just give me the essence of the thing, the juice, you know.
God, she sounds like she's 12 in that comment.
I know, it's really weird.
Why does she? It's actually something kind of funny with Rothrock. She always sounds so young to me. When you see her in movies, like she talks like she's a high schooler. I'm not saying like her acting.
Have we only watched one movie where she speaks English? I think we've only watched where she actually is speaking.
No, but I've
English.
seen other Rothrock movies growing up, and like she always, like.
Well, her voice is on the higher side. It is.
Yeah, but like she always sounds like she's very young. I haven't seen a recent movie. Are there any recent movies she did? 'Cause didn't she do like some
Well, there is
action-
one. I backed it on Kickstarter, of course. I haven't watched it yet, but it just got released, which is called Black Creek. It's a Western. I've seen a little bit of it, but I really don't think she does most of her stunts, and I think they sped her up. I mean, she's 70 or so now, so there's going to be limitations on what she can do, but...
Oh, is she the lead?
Yeah, she is the lead. Yeah.
No shit.
I think it's Richard Norton's last movie before he died. There's people in it.
She knows
There's
she
some
looks
names
like
in it. Yeah.
Oh man, she looks like what's her name? Sharon Stone from The Quick and the Dead.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. This isn't a martial arts movie though. This is a.
Well, there is martial arts, but it's definitely leaning
my God.
on westerns.
Darnie the Dragon Wilson's in this.
Oh yeah, I told you. There's
Are
martial
they
arts
trying to
names in
sell
it.
him as a Native American in this?
I haven't watched it yet. I will watch that on my own because it may be very bad.
Oh no, we should totally watch this. I love westerns.
Yeah, but if it's not good, I don't want to watch her in decline. I'll stop watching it. I'd rather not watch it.
I mean,
You know
she
what I
can
mean? It's
still
not-
listen. She can still be good, though. I mean,
She could, but I don't know if she.
but I'm gonna
is.
tell you. I'm gonna tell you right now.
Yeah.
The hat they've got her in is god
Yeah.
awful, and I know that
Well, I could-
I'm a hat snob, right? In fact, the hats in this movie in general are pretty bad.
Well, I'm going to tell you that it was a movie that was independently funded, like on Kickstarter. So I don't think
Okay.
they had the money for good stuff.
Got it.
You know.
Yeah.
So
But I mean, listen. Listen. You can make a western for pretty cheap and have it be good.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that it's
No,
going to be
I-
bad.
I agree. I think that as a lot of
But
people
yeah,
are
I get what
pointing
you mean.
out,
No, I get what you mean.
is
And you know
that-
what? I saw a picture the other day of Paul Hogan in a
Yeah.
wheelchair, and
yeah, see what I'm saying?
And I got so glum. I was so
Yeah.
glum, and my wife was like, "Is that because you feel old?" And I'm like, "No, it's because Paul Hogan is a funny motherfucker, and I don't like the idea of him being decrepit."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
And that
like,
and that's the thing about this is some of the reviews are basically saying, "Hey, if you're expecting her to be able to do much, you can tell she can't." And it's like, do I want to see that? I don't know if I want to
Well,
see
I mean,
it. I understand
listen,
that's what
there
happens.
has to
I'm not
be-
dumb. I understand
yeah,
it, but
I figure she's just in it as a B movie Western actress. I don't think. I mean, it's bold to think that she's still
it's
doing
her
heavy
movie.
martial
She
arts.
put it together, so I believe
really?
she is the movie. Yes, she
Interesting.
put this movie together.
I mean, because there has to be a point where physically, you just can't. This is the thing with like Harrison
That's-
Ford.
yes.
When you watch some of
Yeah.
these like later, like I haven't watched the latest Indiana Jones yet because there's a suspension
not
of
gonna.
disbelief that when he hits somebody and it makes that noise, like that meat slapping noise that they love to use.
Yeah.
It's like, guys, I don't think he can deliver a punch like that. The one thing they should have done, that they never did with Harrison Ford and Indiana Jones, was they should have said something along the lines of, well, drinking from the cup of Christ has had an effect on your physiology, right? Then I can believe when he does things in a movie that a man his age could not do. 'Cause you could be like, well, you know what, cup of Christ, right? I could buy it then, but the thing is, once you go past the seal, it doesn't work, right? Isn't that the
Yeah.
yeah? So, but I get what you're saying. Is
Well,
you don't.
I'll read this because this
Yeah.
is the phrase that really made me kind of think, oh,
So
boy.
why'd you back it?
So
Did
this
you
is-
just back it because you love Rothrock?
Because it's her and it was a dream project. She
Okay.
wanted to make a Western. She never got the chance. It's like, you know what, man? I'll support somebody's ambition. On the off chance, it sounds like, from all accounts, she had a great time doing it. Whatever the end result, from what I've read of her kind of vlogs on it and her, her writing on it, it sounds like she got together with people she knew and liked, and they had a great time filming something. And if that's all I donated towards, mission accomplished, whatever. But I'll read this because this feels like a very honest, because there's a lot of reviews that are 10 out of 10s and they look suspicious, like they were generated. I don't believe them.
Yeah.
But this one says, quote, I remain a fan of Rothrock and her long, if uneven, career as an action star. For as much energy as she and her collaborators proudly poured into this, a part of me honestly feels bad being so heavily critical and dismissive of it. The fact of the matter, however, is that while Black Creek may be the Western Rothrock wanted to make, it's not a Western that the majority of viewers will ever want to watch, and the star's judgment has seemingly been clouded and corrupted by her experiences in the recent cinematic landscape. Accentuating the point, at 2 hours, this is much, much longer than it should have been. It's still the case that there are worse ways to spend one's time, and in fairness, it's not as if every last tidbit is uniformly rotten. Sadly, though, there's just not remotely enough value in this film to make it particularly worthwhile unless one has a very specific, concrete impetus to watch. I guess I'm glad for those who get more out of it than I do, but to such viewers, I would also suggest watching anything else, anything at all. And to Rothrock and friends, I can only say, in the most polite terms, better luck next time, end quote. And that feels like
Yeah.
what would I rather just have supported it and never see and go watch Yes Madam again? Probably.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or watch an interview where she still has all this energy and talks very delightfully about all the stuff she's done. No effect on age to the story she tells and how she got it. Like all that, I've seen interviews with her, very recent ones within the last couple of years. She doesn't seem at all like she's declining mentally whatsoever. She tells great stories. She's still delightful to listen to. I'd prefer maybe to spend 2 hours on an interview than this. But am I glad I backed it? Yes, I'm glad I backed it. I'm thrilled I backed it because she got to make something she wanted to.
I just watched the trailer while you were reading that, like with the sound low, so I could hear you.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look like the worst Western I've ever seen. I think this is the other thing too. Is I watch a lot of Westerns. Like, you're not a Western guy. I've watched a lot of Westerns. There are bad Westerns out there. This one, honestly, from the trailer, if I watched this late at night, like just from the trailer, I'd be like, yeah, you know what? I was like,
well, then we can watch it.
It's a B-movie Western. Because you know what? Was it...
but also, it's pretty long, and we tend to stick to 90 minutes. This thing is an hour 56.
Chris Hemsworth's brother, the older one, who was on...
Liam?
No, it's not Liam. It's the older one.
Okay.
The oldest one who was on Westworld, who was the security guy.
I don't remember all of them.
Yeah. He did a Western. And, I saw the trailer for it, and I'm like, yeah, this looks like a late-night B-movie Western. You can make them for pretty cheap. You make them out in the desert somewhere, right? It didn't look god-awful, but, it didn't look like it was great either. It just looked like it was a B-movie Western. Oh, man, I will say this, though, because you brought up Liam Hemsworth. So that was it Henry Cavill?
The Witcher thing.
Yeah, Henry Cavill left The Witcher, and they brought him Liam Hemsworth. We watched the trailer for it, the teaser they did. They reveal Liam Hemsworth as The Witcher. I'm gonna say this up front.
Okay.
When they said that Cavill was leaving and Liam Hemsworth was gonna replace him, I said to my wife, they put a bit of beard on this guy. Because in the books, he has a beard later on, right? Or in the games, right? In the games, he has a beard later on.
I was going to say, in the games, he can grow one, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, you know what? A beard would really help Liam Hemsworth not look so pretty boy. They decided not to do that.
Yeah. And I think they didn't want to suddenly make him look a lot different.
No, but here's the thing. Like, you could make him
I'm saying it's a good idea.
But my wife and I watched the trailer for it, and we both looked at each other, and we were like, yeah, no. Like, sorry. I was like, you've got some really big shoes to fill. Cavill did an exceptional work with that role. I was
okay, so you watched the last season that Cavill was in, right?
Yeah.
Did it end on a cliffhanger, or did it have an ending?
Oh, it was a bit of a cliffhanger because basically,
I think that's why
everybody gets separated, and he's going to look for the girl, and he's going to look after the wizard that kicked the shit out of him. I mean, like, honestly, it's a cliffhanger in that he gets the shit kicked out of him in that last season, but he goes up against a guy who's a better warrior wizard than he'll ever be, and he recovers enough by the end of the show to basically like go on the hunt, right? And that's how it ends, which is that he's looking to find everybody, because the season. I mean, honestly, the last season of Witcher, I really enjoyed Witcher. It's not a perfect show, but I enjoyed it a lot because it got into a lot of weird shit. And in season 4, it was great because The Witcher and Yennefer actually like start acting like a couple, and they start working together. And there's like this great sequence where they're at a ball full of wizards and a castle, and they're both trying to play the room and figure out what's going on. And it's well done. I enjoyed it. It's good television. But Cavill so occupied that role that, like, if Liam Hemsworth is in a no-win situation. If he tries to match Cavill's performance, it's a parody. If he does something very, very different, then there's the chance he could lose the audience, right? And it's a shame because everybody else is the same. They kept everybody else but Cavill. So I feel bad for everybody else because, they're still working on this show, and I'm sure all these elements will still be good. But, like, yeah, I mean, like, I feel bad because I don't think Liam Hemsworth is a bad actor, but I just don't think he's as good as Henry Cavill. So, anyway, but it doesn't matter because we didn't watch any movies with either of those people in them.
No, we certainly did not do that. We watched 3 movies. We're going to start off with a Chow Yun Fat vehicle that I think it would be safe to say, if it had come out a year or 2 earlier than it did, would probably be more known or associated with it. Had you ever heard of this movie?
No, I didn't. And you said it came out the same year as Hard Boiled.
It did. It came out in 1992.
And Hard Boiled. Hard Boiled is awesome. That for me.
Ironically, two of the stars of Hard Boiled, at least there may be other ones, but at least two of them are in this movie.
Yeah.
Which is called, it's titled Full Contact. I cannot possibly read the original title without getting it wrong. So I'm just going to go with Full Contact.
Yeah.
And it is essentially, there's a tag here that says Gun Fu. I would say that's probably relatively correct. It is a crime action film.
Yeah, it's, I mean,
about
I think
a bunch of disreputable people.
Yes. And the thing is, my review of this movie is very simple. If you like Chai and Fat, you like this period of Chai and Fat, and you want to see something in the same vague world as Hard Boiled, right? A world of crime, I would watch Full Contact. Just know that he's not a cop. He's not a hero so much as he is just the protagonist of this movie.
Oh,
and this is one of the things that really.
At all.
I know this is one of the things that bugged you, and I've been thinking about this actually because we watched this movie, and Joe has a Chai and Fat problem, which is that whenever the Chai and Fat is just like has so much charisma, but when he shows up and he's not a good guy, Joe gets very irked with Chai and Fat. And I was thinking about this, and I was like,
okay, wait.
Yeah.
All right, let's boil that down a little bit more. It's not that I care that if he's a good guy. What bothers me is when the movie is positioning his character as if it's supposed to be a heroic or a positive character, and he's doing scummy things. That
the thing is,
bothers me.
I guess
if Chai and Fat just plays a villain, I'm fine. I mean, the killer, he's a villain.
Yeah, I guess I just don't feel the positioning. I mean, the movie with the wizard girl, the was it Witches from Bali? Is that what it's called? What was that one called?
Witch from Nepal.
Witch from Nepal.
Mystics in Bali.
Yeah,
Mystics in Bali.
Sorry. The Witch from Nepal movie. Yeah, he was positioned to be like the romantic lead of that, right? Which is weird. But in this movie, Chai and Fat plays a thief. He is in the world of crime. He robs places, and if anything, honestly, what this movie I realized kind of reminds me of in a weird way. Kind of reminded me of Payback with like the Mel Gibson movie.
Oh, Mel Gibson?
Yeah, sure, we're like Parker, because that character Parker has shown up in a bunch of the source material. In fact, apparently there's a new movie now with what's his name? Shane Black wrote a new movie, and the main character Parker is supposed to be.
Stay Dirty? Stay
Something.
Dirty?
Yeah, it's based on the same character as Mel Gibson in Payback. But the thing is, in Payback, Mel Gibson's character, he's not a hero. He's not a good guy. He's a fucking thief who gets fucked over. And then he eventually shows up because he wants his fucking money. And the joke of it is that like it becomes funny because everyone keeps thinking he wants more money than he wants. And the reality is that he just really wants his fucking the money, his cut of the deal, right? And in this movie, Chai and Fat's friend, what was his name? We kept calling him something.
Well, we called him Tony. I don't think that's his actual name.
That's not his name, but I think it's Sam. Isn't it Sam in the movie?
It might, hold on, I think it is his Sam. Yes, you're correct.
Sam. So his friend Sam basically takes out a loan from a loan shark. You find out to pay for Chai and Fat's mother's funeral, right? Because these three thieves are all really close, right?
Yeah.
And when that loan shark basically calls it in, and Sam doesn't have the money. Chai and Fat has to show up, and at this point, Chai and Fat is a strong arm guy. He works as a bouncer, and when he shows up to this loan sharks fight, he kind of tries to negotiate a little bit, and then he just says "fuck it," and he basically fights the guy, and he kicks the shit out of all his guards, and he takes Sam. But now they've got a price on their head, and they need to pay this guy back. And so Sam has a cousin, right? Isn't the wizard thief
cousin?
Yeah. So he has a cousin who also has a thievery crew, and this particular gentleman is very flamboyant, has a really cool jacket, and does magic tricks.
This, by the way, is one of the other things about this movie that's sort of weird and inverted. Is the true bad guy gang is by far the most interesting assortment of characters compared to Chow Yun-Fat and his gang, which seemed like very standard kind of low-level dirtbags. But the evil gang are wonderful in their variety and personalities. They are great.
And I did enjoy them. I mean, the fact that the main guy is basically like a magician thief, and is pretty. I mean, he's pretty brutal, but he's a magician thief, and does like magic tricks. And then there's the big strong oaf who is
they're just called Psycho.
Yeah,
mostly.
which is I mean, but he's the least interesting. And then the woman in the group,
Virgin.
who they call her Virgin, who is
Yes.
a raging. I mean, for lack of a better phrase, she is a raging whore. She is
Well, I was going to say
supposed.
nymphomaniac.
Yeah, well, you know what? She's very possible. She is some kind of nymphomaniac, and she is
just in that she never sells herself. She just wants to literally
no,
fuck
she just
everything.
wants. Yeah, and I found her delightfully well done. Like,
Oh yeah, she is so consumed with sex and is so just out front with it. It's very refreshing in that she's not trying to, and nobody really seems to. In general, they don't belittle her for it. They just kind of understand that this is her thing.
Some people do, and some people don't want to have sex with her. That's all. But this crew basically fucks over Chow Yun-fat's crew on behalf of the loan shark, right? And in the penultimate moment, the third man in Chow Yun-fat's crew gets killed, and Sam, who is the cousin of the magician thief, basically says to Sam, "Go into that building and shoot Chow Yun-fat." And which creates the kind of weird, fucked up morality of this movie, where Sam goes in and rather than try to get away with Chow Yun-fat, right? Where clearly it seemed to me like there was a way out. I guess you said at one point that maybe he was just so freaked out he couldn't even think any other way. Sam betrays Chow Yun-fat. He shoots him, or tries to shoot him several times.
Because his cousin is basically like, either you walk out and he's dead, or neither of you is walking out. So he's threatening him.
Yeah. And so Sam believes that he has killed Chow Yun-fat, his friend, and walks out, and then they proceed to shoot up the building, and it blows up, and it kills everyone it burns everyone to death, but a little girl, young lady that Chow Yun-fat saves, and then a dog. Which, you know what? As far as a dog movie goes, the dog lives.
Dog lives.
And so for me, this movie, I'll let Joe describe the rest of it, but to this point in the movie, the morality has been set to me, where I look at this and I go, okay, Chow Yun-fat is not a good guy. He is a thief. He is a thief who's been fucked over by another thief, and now he wants revenge. And that revenge is all-consuming. Furthermore, there is a philosophical thing he says later in this movie, where basically he says, we were thieves, we knew what we were supposed to do, we broke our own rules, people died because of us, that's not what thieves do. Right, so they weren't thieves like the magician guy's crew, who killed whoever they felt like it. They felt Chow Yun-fat thought that they were an honorable crew. And when they lost their honor, that became the thing that was all consuming to him. And nothing else is allowed to matter, because he is not a good person anymore. Therefore, he doesn't get to have what he wants. And even later on in this movie, which I will let you explain it, but even later in the movie, when he does show that there's an ex-wife that he does want, he will not let himself have her, because he is bad. He wants her, but he cannot have her because he has. I mean, did you notice he's always? I get the sense that Chow Yun-fat's character is a strong Buddhist in this, right? He's always wearing the Buddhist necklace. He's always being patched up by Buddhist monks.
Well, it starts out in a Buddhist monastery.
Exactly.
It's the first thing we see.
So looking at this from a Buddhist perspective, he feels like he has done something karmically wrong, and he does not. And basically, his life is now about trying to correct that karmic duty. That's my take on it, and I never thought that he was the hero. I mean, listen, he is quite cool, and that's the other thing, is if you like Hard Boiled, there's kind of a proto Hard Boiled element to this, where a lot of the cool shit he did in Hard Boiled, he's also doing here. Why? Because it's Chow Yun-fat, and the director was probably like, be cool, and he was like, okay. And so you've got like the cigarette, there's tons of smoking in this, but like the cigarettes and spitting the match, and all kinds of crazy gunfights and shit like that. I mean, late in this movie they do bullet time, which is very funny. But so I went into this being like, this is a crime movie about criminals. So I guess for me, I never looked at the morality of these characters. I said, no, they're all within the realm of scumbags. So let's see what happens. That's the first half. I'll let Joe explain it from there on.
Well, I mean, you're not wrong. The problem I have is very similar to Witch from Nepal, where there's a point where they are, Chow Yun-fat is willing to sacrifice, for somebody who is so hung up on the damage done to an innocent, he's very, very quick to basically shovel his ex, who had nothing involved in all this stuff, into pain. Either because he's refusing to re-engage with her because he doesn't feel he's worthy, but she doesn't have any tie into that, or by telling his friend, who was at least partially coerced into it, who believed he was dead and then took care of, as far as we're ever shown by the movie, sincerely took care of the ex and fell in love with her.
Yeah.
His reappearance now destroys their relationship. So this woman is now fucked from both ends.
Yeah, but you have to explain that, which is essentially his friend Sam shoots and kills him, right? And then out of guilt, takes care of the girlfriend, and then eventually
however
falls in
it
love.
started, again, as I'm not saying that
but here's the thing, right? But like I said, they're all bad. Sam is a psychopath, and this is kind of like the first half of the movie and the second half of the movie. And the first half of the movie that I explained is basically where Chow Yun-fat ends up in a monastery, having been shot up, right? In the second half of the movie, when Sam is now running with the magician's crew, and he's a fucking psychopath. He's shooting people left and right. He's as much of a maniac as the other people on the team. And honestly, I had no, I don't know, I had no patience. I had no pity for him. Because I said to you at one point when we were talking about the whole shooting thing, whereas like if this was you on the floor and someone turned to me and they were like, shoot your friend or you're going to die, I'd be like, fuck you. I was like, I'm either going to take you out and get my friend out, or we're going to go down trying. You know what I mean? Like there's...
And I'm not disagreeing. I'm saying the problem centers around the ex, the woman.
Oh, no, and listen.
That's the problem.
She's the only... I mean, there's two innocent victims in this.
Two. Yes.
There's two. It's the woman who gets burned in the very beginning, right? Who you discover Chow Yun-fat is trying to make all this money to give to her. And the ex-wife, Chow Yun-fat's ex-wife, who now is married to Sam, who realizes that, her ex has gone crazy, and that Sam is not the person she thought he was. And she loses everything. Again, essentially, right?
Right. And that's where it falls apart for me. Because Chow Yun-fat's actions are... He has disregarded one innocent for another. And that's my problem. So if you're going to try to present it where he seems to care about one form of innocence, and so no longer being suggested as a total scumbag, then why doesn't he care about the ex? What he should have done was say to the ex, he shot me. When this is all over, we can be together again. I wasn't able to come back because I was, grievously wounded. Yeah.
And I thought...
And could not call you because cell phones don't exist.
I thought at some point they were going to address this idea that, like, by the time he was recovered enough to see her, she was already with Sam, and that like, broke his heart or something like that. You know what I mean? There's a lot of ways you could have done this.
Yes, there's a lot of parts. And the thing is, though, even that, though, the easy solution to that is, he tried to kill me. He's the reason you thought I was dead, because I was in a coma, and they were trying to put my fucking body back together. You notice I'm missing some fingers, honey. It's not because I cut them off for fun, So there again, you can address all that, but instead his thing is, nope, vengeance is more important than you are right now. Or, you can't have him either because he's a scumbag.
And I wonder if there's a cultural element to this that I'm missing. And the thing is, I'm not saying that he's not a scumbag. I'm saying that I knew he was a scumbag, and that it doesn't make any difference to me because he's a scumbag. So his actions don't...
But the movie's trying to have it both ways, and that's where, like I said, it starts to fail me, because he should have not... The little girl should have been non-existent, and it makes this movie a lot cleaner. The little girl being his baggage, and then him disregarding the ex is my problem. This is, again, sort of the Witch from Nepal problem, where it's like, no, this is not that he's sacrificing. He's just fucking his ex over, who had no involvement. It's like he's pissed off that she moved on, which is not her fault. She thought he was dead.
And here's the thing. I think that's actually very human. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but it honestly reads very human.
Yeah. Well, that's fine. But what I'm saying is, it doesn't. That's
But he
where
is a scumbag. I guess that's the thing, is that he is a scumbag thief from the start.
Except they complicate it with the young girl.
Well, no, I think
And
that
he
he's
should
just,
have written
he's
her
just,
off. And who
Well,
gives
he
a
should
fuck?
have, but I think he's karmically trying to make up for a grievous.
Well, then what karma is there in screwing over the ex? Tell me how that balances it out. That's not bad.
No, I think it. Listen,
To sacrifice another innocent?
I think it's bad as well. I think he's making a mistake. I think that's the point. That he's not doing the right thing. He hasn't done the right thing from the start.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a I'm going to use this term very loosely. This is a tragedy, right? In the same way that, do you know Othello at all? The play.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay, so Othello has this is a Moorish general, and he has this beautiful wife, and he's the general. And Iago is one of his assistants, who basically wants the there's a raise coming to one of the soldiers, and Iago wants it, but he also doesn't feel like Othello deserves his position. He's very jealous, right? So what he does is he basically starts to convince Othello that his wife is having an affair with the soldier that Othello was planning on giving the raise to, right? And the thing is that once the thought is put on Othello's mind, it's a tragedy. He starts to do all this fucked up shit, and by the end of it, he kills his own wife, right? And then realizes that no, this was all Iago's doing, that she was never wrong, that she was never impure, right? But there's this tragedy to it, which is somebody made you do the wrong thing, and you did the wrong thing, and now you're left with it. And the bad guy doesn't get away with it either. I mean, he gets punished, but either way, Othello has still lost, and there's a tragedy to it. This movie is a tragedy, which is that essentially, Chow Yun-fat's character starts out that he's got his stripper wife, and he's a bouncer, and he's got his thief crew, and things are kind of good. And then his one friend does something, makes a decision that basically sends everything flying off the handle. And along the way, at first he thinks he's trying to protect his friends, and his friends fuck him over. And then he goes to the opposite extreme, where basically now he doesn't give a shit. And it's also incorrect. And it's this tragedy where the character is essentially, I mean, he lives. I really didn't think he was going to live at the end. The fact that he does live at the end is quite funny. But it's like, it doesn't matter because he does everything wrong. And so it's this tragedy where you have this character who is physically capable, intelligent, seems like he knows what's going on, and yet he's making all the wrong calls until he gets to the end. And even after he gives that girl the money, he's still going to be left with nothing. I don't even think he has the dog at the end because he left it with Sam.
Yeah, he does.
So this is a movie that's a tragedy. It's about a person making all the wrong moves. And I mean, the path of destruction he leaves is profound. I mean, there's a hell of a body count. And I feel like he should have died at the end. Like him and the magician should have killed each other. And I was a little bit, I mean, he shouldn't have walked away from this. But if he hadn't, I think the idea is the money wouldn't have gotten to the girl. I almost feel like he should have gotten back to the apartment where his friend Sam was with the dog, given the money to him and been like, give this to the girl, and then drop dead. And that would have been the ending. You know what I mean?
Sure, I could have seen that.
I feel like that would have been better for me. But I enjoyed this movie. I did. I mean, outside of our moral issues with the movie, I enjoyed it. Chow Yun-fat does a lot of cool shit. The movie went in a lot of directions I wasn't expecting. And I liked it. I actually did enjoy it quite a bit. I would tell anybody who likes, this era of Chow Yun-fat to see it. It's not his best movie from the era, but I think that, I think it's good. I mean, honestly, I would rather watch this again than watch the first Better Tomorrow 2. But not Better Tomorrow, or for the first, because Better Tomorrow 2 is like such a better movie. But I don't think it's a bad movie. I think people should see it. I think that if you like this era of Chai Yun-fat, I think it is a interesting flick. They do a lot of fun things in the movie. There's a lot of interesting characters that aren't him necessarily.
I would agree I'd watch it before a Better Tomorrow 2.
No, I said Better Tomorrow
disagree
1.
with that.
Better Tomorrow 1.
Sorry, Better Tomorrow 1.
Yeah. Better Tomorrow 2
no,
is
Better Tomorrow
awesome.
2 is actually better. No,
Yeah.
it's awesome. Sorry. So I would agree with that. I would watch this before I'd watch Witch from Nepal again. That's for sure.
Well, yeah, listen, but neither of us is going to watch that one. Because honestly, that movie is not
No,
our type of movie anyway. It's basically
but I will probably...
supernatural.
I cannot imagine myself ever watching this movie again. If anything,
Yeah.
I would watch the end shootout because for some reason, and I cannot figure out why.
Yeah.
Why? There's three things about this movie that mystify me. One is the morality. We've already discussed that, which I'm just not going to be able to get past because I think the movie is trying to have its cake and eat it too. And whatever morality, whatever karmic, cultural...
And again, I never saw the cake, so for me, it's not an issue.
The young girl is the cake, and that's the problem for me. Because that can't be cultural then. Why does the young girl matter? If it's... Who cares?
Oh, no, I didn't say it was cultural. I'm just saying I'm wondering if I'm missing something cultural.
But then
You know
I
what I
guess
mean?
that makes Chow Yun-fat an idiot, which I guess I don't want to watch either because he obviously doesn't understand how whatever he's balancing out works, or he would realize that screwing over one innocent for another is not karmically balanced.
Or in
It just
his
doesn't make
mind,
sense.
or in his mind, he comes from a world where emotional distress is not the same as having most of your body burned.
Okay, well, again, I would say that makes you a moron. All right, but let's get past the morality.
Hold on.
Whatever.
Oh, no, hold on. It's not a moron, but there are plenty of people who come from a world where if they cannot see the physical damage, they don't believe that it is as important as a burn victim is in far more dire circumstances than somebody who's emotionally distressed. I've seen this. This is a psychology that a lot of soldiers have that I have encountered. Like, this is something that happens. Like, it's not a matter of stupid. It's not a matter of dumb. It's a matter of some people cannot see beyond the physical realm. I'm not trying
Chow
to...
Yun-fat in this movie is a moron. I don't know about other people. He's a moron in this. So this is my problem. So let's put that aside. Because... whatever. Like I said, the movie would have been so much easier for me to be on board with if the young girl was just not part of it. If he was just out for vengeance, didn't care anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I'm giving you alternate possibilities, but I acknowledge the fact that it is very questionable how he deals with the wife. He doesn't want to see her. He's very standoffish to her. He doesn't want her to die because he does protect her at one point. But he does not, he doesn't even want to talk to her. It is weird.
He's not acknowledging her innocence, which is very clearly not her fault.
Yeah, so I don't know why they did it. I'm trying to give you possibilities. But, I mean, I acknowledge it's troublesome. It is troublesome.
And so that's like that. That to me is...
Because
I can't get past
figured,
it.
I figured he would get the girl... I figured that he didn't want to... I thought he didn't want her to know he was alive. He wanted to do all this terrible shit.
Well, that's what they seem to be doing at first because he's in the shadows and whatever.
But then Sam tells her right away.
Screw around with it.
Yeah, but Sam tells her immediately, "Oh, your dead ex-husband came back from the dead." You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So
yes,
either
that's
way,
what
but
I'm
you were
saying
saying
is I feel like the movie is not well written.
Outside of the morality, it's not. But there's still some fun things in it.
Well, the fun things are. There's two other things I think the movie fails at. They do not make enough use of the magic villain. The magic villain does magic tricks here and there, but it's such a neat concept, and he's so great.
Yeah, and he's the perfect counterbalance to Chow Yun-fat's character, who's all kind of like 80s, like cool grit, and then you've got this very sort of flamboyant, like really intelligent magician.
Yes, and the thing is that he's a gay character, which I didn't even pick up on. You picked it up before I did. But that's another great element where he's basically like, okay, we shouldn't be fighting. We should be fucking.
Oh my God,
that's what he's saying.
And there's a line in there. Oh God. I mean, listen, some of the lines between Chow Yun-fat and the magician are fantastic. where he says something
Yes.
like, oh, I can't wait to see you tonight. And China Fat's like, well, you better clean your ass because I'm coming to see you. And I'm like, oh my god, it's like, are you
Yeah.
flirting with him? Like,
Yeah.
like, and that's the thing is that China Fat has enough charisma that like I do think he was flirting with him.
Yeah, I don't know, but that's the thing is, it's
They don't do
it's
enough.
An
They don't do
interesting
enough with it.
thing.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's something I think they wasted, was just this magical, very charismatic villain who they could have had be much more present in the movie, and they don't do enough with the magic or him. That's another one. And then this awesome bullet thing they do, which is like, I would call it like bullet rail, like parallel camera work.
They follow the bullet.
Yeah, essentially, it's almost like, if you remember, it's like a Sniper Elite thing, but if it was at a set camera angle. Or if you remember the old Max Payne games, when you fired from the sniper rifle, the camera would sit behind the bullet and follow it all the way. In this, it's sitting off to the side. But it's like they must have built a rail that the camera's on, that they shoot across the scene. But instead of doing that in every gunfight, they only do it at the end.
It only
which
kicks
is,
in the last like 2 gunfights.
Yeah,
I think.
literally the last the Ice House fight. I think they do it a couple times.
No. It starts in the nightclub when basically Sam is trying to get away and he's trying to get his wife before he leaves, and the magician gang is going to intercept them, and then Chai Fat shows up as well.
Oh yeah, the club. Yeah, and then
and they're all in the club, and that's the first and that's the first time they do it. And then after that, they do it on and off until the very last fight in the what do you call it, when they're doing the deal in the huge parking lot with all the bins
with all the shit on fire.
Yeah, exactly. He blows everything up. Yeah,
right.
But this is like the last 20 minutes of the movie.
Right.
You've sat through an hour and 10 minutes of this, and then you're on the last 20 minutes of the movie, and suddenly they bust this shit out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, even the Matrix, they used that speed shit early on in the movie because the whole idea was that the agents were super goddamn fast. You could barely process it, right? I mean, you knew it was there. They had it as a big threat, right? I mean, there's that scene where Agent Smith is punching the shit out of fucking Morpheus, and it's like you can barely see the fists, right?
Yeah.
And then when Neo does it towards the end, where he dodges the bullet, you're like, oh fuck, awesome, right? But the thing is that they had already teased it throughout the movie. Whereas with this camera trick comes out of nowhere. All of a sudden, you're just following these bullets all over the place. And yes, you do sit there and think, did somebody figure this out halfway through this movie? Did you have a guy and he was like fucking around and he was like, hey, I think I figured out a cool thing we could do with the fights. And they're like, okay, let's use it. And and they couldn't go back and use it retroactively, so they just use it from that point on. That's what it feels like.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a shame because it's such a neat effect, and we get so little of it. And I think that is probably the biggest kind of. What's that?
Didn't Runaway?
Oh yeah. Well, if Runaway did it, but they did it every time he fired the bullet. You saw it all the time.
The super gun. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, it's great.
Was it the seeker gun? That's what it was, right? It was a seeker bullet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a seeker bullet. I don't know if he had a name for the gun, but it was seeker bullets, and they would go after you, and they would go around corners, and it was amazing. I mean, it's one of the best things in the movie. Outside of robots, that's probably the best effect.
You know what that gun should have been called? It should have been called the Kiss.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So
it was great.
By the way,
but that one they used the whole movie.
That's a great movie that you should see. Either way, Runaway.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of those.
Always great.
It's one of those it's like kind of else future movies that they make where they were like, on the future that will look like this, and like it doesn't.
Yeah.
But they got like a few things right, that kind of thing.
The bullet, they never really explain it. It's nonsense, but they don't.
No, I know, but it's fun.
It's great. No, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean,
so the magician was underused. And the bullet
and the bullet thing. And the bullet thing should have been there because they have a big fight in the beginning where they're shooting all over the place. And imagine that on the bridge when they're shooting at each other and it was going all over the bridge. That would have been amazing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, fine, watch it if you're a Cheyenne Fat completionist, but there's so much better.
I disagree with Joe. I think that it is a fun and interesting Cheyenne Fat movie. If you enjoy this era of Cheyenne Fat, you've seen the other movies. I you know what? I wouldn't tell people to watch Witch from Nepal. I wouldn't. Like
No, I wouldn't. No, I agree. I'm with you there.
But I would tell people to see this and let
Well,
them
if
make
somebody
their
said,
own.
"Hey, is this worth watching?" I would say, "You know what? It's got its problems, but it's fun." That's
and
what I would
make
say.
your own decision about the questionable morality. Honestly, that to me almost becomes a reason to see it, because I'd love to know other people's take on that morality. Because there's
Sure.
some people that will watch this movie and it might make total sense to them.
Yeah.
You know, I do think there's something very flawed and human about Chow Yun-fat's reaction. I'm not saying that it's good, but I'm saying that it feels like something somebody would do. You know.
Sure.
So anyway,
Okay.
that's Full Contact.
That's Full Contact. So we also watched a re-edit. I guess it would be technically called a fan edit of a Stephen King TV movie, probably one of the worst regarded
Yeah.
of all the
and
adaptations.
Joe reviewed this years ago.
A while ago. Yeah, I reviewed this quite a while ago. It's a re-edit of, well, we're going to talk about how it was made in a second, but it's a reinterpretation, better word, of The Langoliers, which was a 3-hour-long TV event back when Stephen King was getting a lot of TV events made. I don't remember what the date of that. Hold on. I want to say it's early 2000s. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think it was
it was
06?
1995. Oh, my God.
Oh,
It was
okay. Even
95.
further back, yeah.
Woo! And one of the things that people, if they remember it at all, because when it was the Tommy Knockers, there was Tommy Knockers, there was Golden Years, there
Tommy
was
Knockers
Rose
came
Red.
out with Tommy Knockers came out with Jimmy Smits, and Tommy Knockers was largely like kind of it was okay. I mean, it had a really fucking cool ending with Jimmy Smits, but
Well,
like it was largely okay.
All of this really came out from It. It was the big one. It came out. A lot of people liked it. It had Tim Curry as the definitive Pennywise still. I don't want to hear any fucking discussion on it. Whatever. That new Pennywise sucks. The fucking jittery, scary thing is never going to work for me. It's just not. So it was a big hit. That was 1990. Tommy Knockers came out, and it was okay. It was
wasn't
very
great.
notable at the time because Tracy Lords was in it in a non-porn role. They made a big deal about that at the time. She was in it. Jimmy Smits was a big name. It's a perfectly interesting adaptation.
And I got to tell you, the ending. So this is a weird thing. The show itself wasn't great, but that scene when Jimmy Smits gets in the machine, and he starts to fuck them all up. Dude, that scene lives in my mind forever. I hate to admit that, but that one scene, you know how there's a scene, you pull sometimes scenes from a movie and they just live permanently in your head. That scene where Jimmy Smits gets in the machine, it's like, it's like 2-3 minutes of the movie. I love that part of that movie. It's worth for me to watch that whole okay flick, because when Jimmy Smits gets in that machine and starts fucking them all up, it is fantastic. For me.
Well, and I'm the same way with It. The adaptation of It is missing a lot of the most powerful stuff that the novel had.
Yeah.
There's a lot that got cut out. But Tim Curry, whatever voice he's doing and his whole thing is because he's really most of the time, unlike the new Pennywise, who looks evil the minute anybody looks at him. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, he never looks happy.
The Tim Curry one, when he's smiling and acting normal, if an ordinary adult saw him, they wouldn't think twice.
Yeah, he looks like Bozo the Clown most of the time.
He does. They made him look very ordinary until he has like sharp teeth and he's roaring and that. But they changed his eyes and everything when that happens. But ordinarily, he looks like a kind of 50s, 60s clown.
Whereas Pennywise in the new one always looks like he wants to touch your kids.
Yeah, it's pedocreep. It's terrible. It's stupid. And so that's why, I don't remember much of It, but I remember all the Tim Curry stuff because it's so great. And certain scenes, but he's really the reason I remember it. Same thing with like the Tommy Knockers. So the thing about It, and I think this is why it was successful. If it wasn't Tim Curry, if it was somebody less talented, probably would have disappeared into the nothing. It would have been not a non-anything. And so that led to a number of these, because Stephen King has always been a kind of cashable name.
But the problem with Stephen King is that most of his stuff, they just don't seem to know how to put it on film.
Well, it's 50-50. Because Shawshank Redemption, mega hit, excellent.
Most people don't know it's a Stephen King story.
That doesn't matter because everybody who's made the movie knows it's him, so they're going to keep going back to him. Green Mile, pretty good. Not Shawshank, but pretty good. Fun movie. A lot of people really love The Mist. I don't. because it's just too much of a downer.
Or
It's more of a
the-
downer than the goddamn book was.
Yeah, oh man, that ending. Holy
It's
shit.
worse.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. It's
Yeah.
it's fucking terrible. Maximum Overdrive, I adore. Most people hate it. So go figure.
Yeah, but you know what? But I acknowledge the fact that it's fucking awesome, but it's not necessarily a good
No.
movie.
No, it's not. The Shining, even though Stephen King hated it, it's still
You
his
know-
movie, and
you
it's
know,
regarded as a classic.
I hate to say this, but like I've come to have so little patience for The Shining. Like I
I don't watch it,
I
but I
acknowledge
recognize
that
that it's good.
that it's a decent work of art. It's just not something I really want to watch.
Well, it's The Shining is similar to what you're talking about with Tommy Knockers. There's specific moments of The Shining that are so good that it bypasses.
Oh yeah, they're iconic.
I don't ever need to watch it, but like the blood coming out of the elevator when he comes around, the
fucking hell.
girls are there and he's seeing the flashback.
Yeah,
and
the twin girls, the bathtub
The wo-
scene with the old woman.
the
Oh,
woman with the bathtub. That's a great
Yeah.
one. When Jack Nicholson's coming down the stairs and he's flipping out. There's really good aspects of it, but I agree. I never watch it. It's just, Cujo's another one. Cujo I watched, and I'll never forget it, and it's so miserable, and it's so sad because the dog didn't do anything wrong.
you know, it was like
choking
that
me
a
up
lot of the
thinking
scenes in
about it.
that movie was a guy in a suit.
Yeah, is that crazy or what?
Man, yeah,
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
like,
well,
I guess the
because
thing is
you
that
couldn't get a dog to do some of it.
they end up having to change them quite a bit, though. I guess is the thing that bugs me. It's like Cujo.
Sometimes, not the Dead
movie-
Zone. The Dead Zone is pretty much the book. They just took some of the elements out, but it's the book. That is the book. Christine is the book. Those are pretty much dead, and those are great. I think Dead Zone is a sensationally good movie that everybody forgets about. It's excellent. Christine is seen as a Carpenter failure. I can't imagine why, although that's
Oh
sort
my
of being...
god, I always forget that's
rid of-
Carpenter.
Yeah, it's John
listen,
Carpenter.
Christine,
It's a good movie.
it's okay.
Have you watched it in a while? Have you watched it in a while?
I haven't seen it in a couple of years.
At some point, you should rewatch it because it's one of those movies that I remember
I
being
mean, I did
okay.
I think my problem with the movie Christine, right, is I didn't know who I wanted. I didn't know who I was supposed to root for in that movie. Like, at first
Well-
you're kind of with the nerdy guy, right, and his car, and then like he rapidly kind of falls away, and then like, is it the girl or is it the friend? Like, who are you supposed to sit on? Like, who is your point of view in that? You know what
Well,
I mean?
I always feel bad for the nerdy guy because he was basically, he found something that he responded to. The car
Yeah.
is supposed to have some kind of power.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they tell you.
And
he
I
got
feel like
enraptured.
and it overwhelmed
It's,
him.
it's his. It's like what did you call it? The first love is the animus. Is that what the anima? What is it when the first woman that you fall in love with, if she leaves you, there's that she always sticks. You have a word for it. You told me at one time.
Oh well, the animus is your ideal love.
And isn't that often formed off your first serious relationship or something?
It can be, yeah.
All right. Well, that idea is what I feel like the car is that he
I think-
found something.
I feel like he was.
that-
I
it
always
a
felt like
woman.
he was ensorcelled by the car.
Yes, exactly. And so you do feel bad for him because he wasn't
Yeah.
a bad person.
No.
He just got wrapped up in the car because the car preys on people who need something,
Yeah.
who are lonely. And it's basically, it's an abusive relationship. The car is the abuser. The songs it plays are basically, it's emotionally manipulating him and it makes
But
him feel powerful and strong.
I will.
The car was the
have to s-
AI chatbot girlfriend before that existed.
I know.
That's
I will
what
have
it
to
is.
see it again at some point. But the Dark Tower movie they did was terrible.
Awful. Didn't even watch
one,
it.
The
and I
one
knew it would
about
be awful.
the alien that comes out the guy's ass. What's that one called?
Oh, Dreamwalk. You know what?
Yeah.
Dream.
The story is so
Catchers?
much better. Dreamcatcher.
See,
or something like
see,
that.
and I didn't even think the story was good, so that was dead on arrival for me.
Yeah.
I was like, this story is stupid.
Yeah,
Ass
but like-
exploding aliens? This is a joke. It's like an Edgar Wright movie. I mean, Edgar Wright probably would have made the better version of that movie. Let's be honest.
And
with
maybe the
ourselves.
thing is that those movies should be great, and I think a lot of them just come out just kind
Well-
of averagely good.
Pet Cemetery, very good. I would argue. I think that's a good movie.
I think it's okay.
I mean, it's.
I mean, listen, Needful Things.
There are
I will
some-
say this: Needful Things was a hell of a movie.
a great movie.
But like the
Of a
Dark
story
Half,
that I did not think could possibly work
I
as a
know.
movie.
The
I was
Dark
like, this
Half with
story's going to be
Timothy-
adapted.
the Dark Half with
that's a
Timothy
fun
Hutton.
one.
I know, but I love the book, but the movie, I just don't feel like they did it with Timothy
Yeah,
Hutton.
it's lesser. No,
Yeah,
and this is what I'm saying is if you go through the entire filmography,
Yeah, Stephen
there
King
are
books.
for every hit there's a loss. There is a ton
Stephen
of
King books are largely pretty good. Like, I mean, there are some.
and that's
weak
what I'm
ones,
saying is.
but
I
with
mean,
the movies,
the monkey one apparently is really good that he wrote. I haven't seen it, but
The
the
monkey
monkey is
one.
supposed to be very good. All right, good.
which is the monkey one.
It's a new one, that short story. It was in 2025, but all the reviews have been fairly good about it. It's a horror film.
Okay,
But he wrote
No, I
it.
haven't heard it.
No, I didn't hear about it either until Firestarter.
Well,
Firestarter's
either way,
fine.
we've gotten so far off that
Oh well,
whole idea
so
is
that's
here.
so. But
That-
the TV
the TV
movies
movie was
became a
not
thing.
good. Yeah, it was not
And
good.
most
though.
of most TV movies from King are not good. That's one where it's definitely more misses than hits. So Langoliers comes out. It's torpedoed primarily 3 reasons. One, it's way too fucking long. Should not have been 3 hours
It's
long.
3 hours long. It's
3 fucking hours long for a story that's very short.
and the
in
reality is
comparison.
that you aren't really in love with any of the characters.
No, David Morse is probably the most clearly kind of heroic and, everyman, the pilot. He's
Yeah.
the most kind of unimpeachable. And the woman who takes care of the kid. There's nothing wrong with her, but she has no
No,
personality.
there's nothing
You don't
wrong
know
with
anything
them.
about her.
It's just they're. I mean, some of the characters don't even have names.
No, the other primary character is Craig Toomey. Craig. Let's see. Who is acted so badly for the majority of the movie by Branson Pinchot? I don't remember.
Yeah,
I don't
Bronson
remember how to pronounce
Pinchot.
it. Who can act? We both
Who
say this
can
in the
act.
commentary more than once. Who can act
we
and does
have
not
seen
act
him.
in this. He screams.
Yeah, and you
for
don't
some
know if
reason,
they
everything.
told him to act, just be
I have to think they did because there's one moment where he gets quiet and suddenly he's a good actor again. So I'm
there
thinking,
is.
no, that's somebody.
Like, just be
said,
an overbearing, asshole for all this movie.
They would.
Yeah.
I imagine somebody yelling, "Dial it up, louder, bigger, bigger, louder," and that's all he did.
Yeah, so
And the other problem is when the Langoliers themselves appear, they are an awful
even
CG
by
effect.
even by the effects of the day, they were bad.
And the thing is, if you've ever seen the original, there's almost no CG in it until they appear.
Yeah.
So they stand out even more in the
Yeah.
fact that they look ridiculously stupid. And all that torpedoed the movie. Because the problem is that the character that you're supposed to be the most kind of invested in, even as a scumbag, is not good as an
or at least
portrayal.
fascinated with.
Yeah, well, he is a tragic. Your point about tragic characters, he is one. He has been emotionally abused by his father, and turned into this psychopath who is trying to basically have his grand there's a thing where you self destruct. He's trying to self destruct. He's fixated on getting to this meeting to reveal to the board of directors that he intentionally lost a ton of money, not by accident, but on purpose, so that he will be torn down. It's some kind of like self-immolating moment.
Self-defeating,
Yeah, self-defeating moment. So that's the character that you're meant to kind of... I think the Morse character is supposed to be us going, okay, how do we just get back to where we're supposed to be? And the other side is the Craig character, who is trying to basically self-destruct or kill himself or whatever, and is being prevented because they're on a plane, and there's a small number of characters on this fully packed plane that fall asleep, including he's the co-pilot.
No, he's not. No, he's not a co-pilot. He just happens.
Oh, that's right. No, he's the main pilot. No, his co-pilot goes.
No, he's not the
He just
pilot
falls
at all. No, he just happens.
Oh yeah,
to
he's
be
just
on
a passenger.
The flight. Yeah, he's
just
taking the flight
pilot.
home.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
which
right, I
happens.
forgot because
Which happens all the
he's flying.
time. My brother-in-law is a
Yeah.
pilot, and they'll very often jump on a flight, and they'll either take an extra seat if it's available, or there's an extra seat that's in the cockpit, like a jump seat that they can sit in.
They
If they're
save
just
it
trying
for
to,
them, yeah.
if they're just trying to get back to a certain location, because most pilots don't live out of where they fly out of.
Sure.
You
of
know,
course not.
like they'll often live hours, like hours by plane away from where they fly out of. You know, so that was he just happened to be on the plane, and was a pilot from another flight.
200 hours later.
So the small group of people in the back of the plane are asleep. They go through some kind of mystical vagina portal. Well, that's what it'll be in this movie. And then they appear on the other side and suddenly wake up to find the plane is empty. that there's parts of people around and watches and tooth fillings and bridge work and pins in people's legs and shit.
Anything non-biological has just apparently fallen right out.
Is just gone.
Yeah.
The people are gone. And so they land, and as they're landing, they're realizing that it seems a little weird that nobody's responding to the radio. There's the character who is just credited as the writer, who is noticing that something is off and is trying to figure out what it is. And the long and short of it is they land, figure out that they're actually trapped in the past, and that they have to take off, go back through the rift,
because everything
and go back to where they were.
And everything is slowly dying. That's the other thing. Is all the electrical is slowly petering out. All the food is losing its flavor. Everything is slowly,
Yes. And throughout this, Craig is getting these flashbacks of his father telling him that anybody who wastes time will eventually be eaten by these creatures called the Langoliers, that they will eat them up, that their mouths and hair and little legs, and they run after boys who waste time and eat them. And this is a basically boogeyman that the father has drilled into his son. And so Craig is basically screaming about these things, and he has to get to Boston to get to the board meeting, blah, blah, blah. And in this pastime, we find out that the Langoliers are in fact real. They exist.
Or something
the
like them is real, yeah.
Well, it's in the movie. Now, in this version, you can debate whether they're real. I mean, something eats him, and it is.
Oh, yeah.
Things.
No, I'm saying there is definitely something there. I'm just saying that,
yes. But they are in the original TV movie. They are fashioned after his description. Therefore,
there is a little girl. There's a little blind girl who's psychic, who's basically hearing everybody's thoughts, and she knows that there's something coming, and she alerts everybody else, and she's the one that she uses Toomey as bait to the Langoliers so the rest of them can get away.
Yeah, she basically says, "Don't kill him. We need him alive," and that's because then they'll go after him. And so they go back up in the air. And they go back through the rift, except this time they don't go back to sleep, so they all die.
Okay, which
is a deviance from the original.
From the original, they realize they need to be asleep. So what ends up happening is the pilot realizes he needs to fly it through. So he releases a gas, or he does something with the air pressure that puts everybody to sleep. And then he flies
he lowers the cabin pressure. I looked it up because I couldn't remember. So he lowers the pressure. He flies
through the portal, and he dies, but everybody else survives, right?
Because he has to be able to bring the pressure back up before he falls asleep. So he has to, basically, he's going to... And the thing that they don't explain properly in the version we watched is the guy who gets hit, he hits him because he wants to take over. He thinks he should fly it, and that the pilot should live, and the pilot knocks him out so that he can stay behind, and because he realizes he's got like a romantic thing with the woman, and the pilot's, I guess, got nobody. So the version
the version we watched, the fact that they all die at the end, we'll get into the artistic element of this, but the fact they all die at the end, I was really bummed about that. Because it was one of those, it's that whole no-win situation. I was really bummed that nobody made it. Because in the original, I like the fact that somebody makes it. I mean, they're never going to live a normal life again. But in this version, it's so sad because you think they're going to live, and then one guy starts screaming about it, and then the way they edit it, it's like, no, they went through, they're all dead. And you're just like, holy fuck. Like, it does, like, kind of kick the shit out of you right at the end there.
Well, I wonder if the idea of the filmmaker was yours about, they're not going to be able to go back they'll be insane.
Oh, yeah.
How would you ever go back after this?
Yeah.
But
what makes this special is not that he just edited it down. It's what he did with it beyond that, which makes it amazing.
Yes. So what this individual, whose name is, hold on, the name, I'm going to try this, Aristotelis Marikos, I think, is an experimental filmmaker, and this individual became fascinated with reinterpreting this movie for whatever reason, and took the movie and frame by frame printed it out on black and white paper. Every frame of the movie, a 3-hour movie, and then physically manipulated the output, this paper, these Xerox papers, to crinkle, to emphasize when Craig is losing his mind. There's parts where the image splits and you're seeing like the bottom of a mouth and the top is a sky, or there's like a vertical thing.
You're seeing the scenes of his abuse, but they're inside of Toomey's head.
Yes.
You know, like
And so like there's a part where Toomey is ripping the sheets and it starts to rip the frame, and you see multiples of him ripping because he's ripping different images.
It's like he's ripping the scene itself. Yeah.
It is one of the most interesting fan edits, because that's really what this is, that I've ever seen.
It is.
I think
it
I said
is
that
a
when
real.
I reviewed it. I'm like, it changes the whole movie. It makes it
It's
so
a real
much
work
better.
of art. Like I'm not a
It is
huge
that.
fan of this movie, but this version of it is incredible, and it's incredible because of this guy's technique. Because it has this interesting kind of grainy black and whiteness to it that you know he uses all the way through. The fact Toomey's character tears paper to calm himself, so that kind of weighs heavily on the rest of on the actual technique he's using. It doesn't move in a jittery way. It's very smooth. I mean, the animation of it, the movie is still there, and he's extrapolated the core story. So I mean, he brought it down to an hour, right? And yet,
An hour and two. Yep. Hour 2 minutes.
the effects just, I mean, they're just overwhelming to watch, and there's so many just little things he did, where it's like you said, you know, somebody will like poke somebody. Wherever they poke them, there'll be a wrinkle in the actual paper that was photographed. So like, you know, you'll get all these rippling effects, and then when the Langoliers show up at the end, they're just like this weird origami mouth, like fucking like pit of teeth.
Yeah.
Like they don't look at all like the way they did in the movie. They're completely made of moving paper, you know, and it's so much better. I mean, this is probably, I think, the best artistic reinterpretation of a movie I think I've ever seen, hands down.
I would agree. I've never seen anything that is this, in a sense, to give a comparison. The only thing close to this, and it really isn't necessarily fair to make the comparison, but it tracks. It's just backwards. Is 12 Monkeys, the Gilliam film, is an adaptation of an experimental film called La Jetée, which I'm probably mispronouncing. That film is still images that form the core of what 12 Monkeys was. The idea of an individual who time travels when he sees himself being killed on in that case on a pier. But that was all just still images that are on the screen for like 4 or 5 seconds, and they're just still, and it's a short film, and then it was made into 12 Monkeys, which most people agree is a much better version of the story. This goes the other way. It's basically, I mean, not really the other way, but that's the closest in terms of.
No, it's the opposite.
It's the
You had a
core
really
story,
long
but it's much
movie,
better.
and they took it and he pulled it down. And listen, here's the thing: if he didn't have these techniques, right, all this incredible paper shit, it still wouldn't be a good movie. He's made the story into a much more streamlined machine, which makes it better. But then with the added artistic technique he puts on it, I mean, you're just mesmerized by it.
Well,
I mean, it is mesmerizing
very,
to watch.
What's done very well that most movies don't do, or do in a way that we're very familiar with, is he is demonstrating the mental illness visually. And normally in movies, for Craig specifically, normally that's expressed in, hallucinations or shaky cam or some, kind of stuff we've seen a bunch of times. But this has the benefit that Toomey's coping mechanism, which unfortunately the movie depicts as nearly sexual, is that he tears strips of paper.
Well, yeah, but you know what? That's honestly, that's fucking Bronson Pinchot. I mean, whatever they claim to act it. I mean, this is the overacting of the character.
I agree, but in the movie, when you see it normally, it just looks like he's about to jerk off to strips of paper.
And you know what?
He does.
And maybe he is. I mean, maybe that's the reaction he has to it.
I don't remember that from the story. I'm just saying that's how it looks.
Yeah.
But in here, the tearing of paper is then expressed visually, where you're seeing different states of his face as he's doing it. So it's showing the fracturing of the mind visually. It ties into, so the torn paper element is related to the technique of the film being re-edited. And it all ties together.
The only thing he could have done, I think, that would have made this better for me, is just the movie had started out normally. It had been like normal footage. and the moment they go through the gate, it looked like this. Which I think would be an interesting... I think for me, it would have been an interesting juxtaposition that this is what the world looked like in the past.
It'd be interesting.
Like I
I don't know if it'd be better.
This is a minor thing that I think you could have done. Otherwise, no, I think it's a work of art.
My suspicion is that he could probably legally get away with this.
With this?
And he probably couldn't have legally gotten away with that.
Yeah,
because he's not actually using the footage. He's just
I'm
using
amazed that
scans.
he legally got away with this. I mean,
it is sort of astonishing.
Has Stephen King seen this?
It's a great question.
I would love to know if he has. I mean, it's a fantastic version.
Let's see. Has he seen it? Did he ever watch it? I'm not seeing any indication. I don't see anything saying he did or did not.
Yeah. I mean, and listen, it is a bummer that they die at the end, but even the way it happens, it's edited in so well that it's not. It doesn't seem wrong. I mean, it fits. I mean, it fits with the overall theme of the movie. So
yeah.
But that time gate does look like a vagina. I mean, it is a vagina.
It does.
Gate.
It does look like a woman lying on her side with her legs spread open and they fly through.
You're flying into mother time's
a very
vagina.
distilled down version, but nonetheless. Yeah. It is. I agree with you. I don't know that I've ever seen anything that was reworked this much to this successful in effect.
Because it's not just that he pulled every frame as a photocopy. It's that he took the 3 hours of footage in paper form, and then went about like basically arts and crafting it, and then putting it back, and then photographing it the same way you would photograph like animation, right?
Yeah.
And instilling it with all this texture and flavor and artistry and subtext. He had 2 hours of footage to use on what he planned to be, or he had 3 hours of footage used to make what he planned to be a 1 hour movie. It's amazing.
Yeah,
it is. I mean, whatever you say, but the movie itself, visually, it is amazing. And if you're somebody who's into cinema, you should see this because it shows you that there is still wild, fucked up shit to do with cinema.
Yeah, I mean, this is a thing where we've talked about. Take a bad movie and remake it, which is what this is, and make it better.
Yeah, and
this
is better.
is actually even more impressive because he didn't refilm it. He just took it and figured out, okay, who are the main characters? Craig is the main character, and the young girl are the main character. Everybody else is going to get sheared down to the bare minimum to make them functional. Because the Lilith Fair girl, she has a couple of lines. We don't know. I mean, she might as well be invisible. Really.
But it's the little blind psychic girl that is the counterpoint to me. Yeah.
Correct. That's the main character, secondary. She and Toombs make up the core of the film. And that's the thing that's also impressive is it's not even a remake because there wasn't anything refilmed. It was the technique was changed and all the fat was cut. And the focus was put properly on the central characters that need to make the story work. And they work. That's all it is.
It is exceptional art house theater work.
Correct. That I think anybody, even if you're not into art house film,
no,
this is probably one of the more accessible art house films.
Yeah, and the thing is, I think anybody who's interested in cinema, anyone who's interested in horror, should see this. I don't know if I would. I don't know. I'd
probably have my wife watch this. I might watch this with my wife because I think she would be really fascinated with it.
I think my wife would be impressed by the technique for about 20 minutes, and then she'd be like, "This."
Yeah. Luckily, it's only an hour, so you don't really have to stretch too far.
The fact that it's only an hour really, I mean, it works in its favor.
Yeah, it helps. And on any other collection of movie nights, this would probably be the one we say is the best of what we watched.
Oh no.
However, on a whim. I've been tracking the Toxic Avenger remake for a while. And it finally was available digitally in many forms. And I thought, all right, instead of spinning our random wheel, which is how we landed on Timekeepers, which I was really excited about because I do like that movie quite a bit. But I thought, all right, this is either going to be a complete disaster or it's going to be at least entertaining. I thought what I was hoping for was just entertaining, because I'd read good stuff, but it's a remake of a trauma film that isn't a particularly good movie to begin with. It's just a movie that people responded to, but it's not a good movie.
The Toxic Avenger remake is so much better than it has any fucking business being. I mean, I did not expect to adore this movie to the degree that I do. I mean, I was expecting, trashy horror, gore. No, this is a hooker with a heart of gold. I mean, it is so much better than I thought it was going to be. I mean, there's so many influences on this movie. There's a lot of idiocracy in this. I mean, there's a lot of, Jesus Christ, they're making statements about like the medical industry, about the state of pollution. I mean, like, this movie is hitting above its weight so hard. And at the center of it is Peter Dinklage's performance, so did you read about how he did this with the Toxic Avenger?
Yeah, that he did the whole performance, and then woman watched it, and then he redubbed it to match the mouth.
Yeah, so basically, when he becomes the Toxic Avenger, it's not Dinklage anymore. It's a very small female bodybuilder, but she's basically like a body performance, and she's wearing the suit. And what happened was that Dinklage, basically, like you said, acted out.
She sounds like kind of an extraordinarily athletic Doug Jones.
Yeah, but
analog
small
in terms of performance.
But the opposite.
Small but bulky.
Yeah.
Small built. Small and jacked.
Because it was a big, heavy, fucking hot suit. So, and there's animatronics in the face as well. That's how they get that performance. I mean, that suit is kind of impressive. So then Dinklage acted the whole movie, right? Because he had a very specific way of how the main guy moved and he talked and things like that. And then she watched his performance and she tried to match it in her physical performance. And then Dinklage basically saw the performance and tried to match his vocal performance to how she is. So he was basically matching his vocal performance to her, who was matching her physical performance to his, which is a very interesting, and honestly, it's seamless. At no point did I think that wasn't Peter Dinklage. I know it wasn't Peter Dinklage, but it is him. It is the character. And it's just, yeah, Dinklage is great, man. He's always great in the shit he shows up in. I loved it. I mean, the whole center story, which is basically a single dad trying to connect with his child and help them and not die as well. Not be killed by the medical industry. I mean, yeah, on top of all the weird background shit they throw in, all the weird comedic elements, all that. I mean, Kevin Bacon as this like weird tech bro who just wants to be young. Like, oh yeah, I mean, all of it. I just think it's so much better than I thought it could possibly be. So,
no, I agree. I mean, it is. I think in my short review, I said it is shocking how blown away both of us were by the quality of this movie.
Oh yeah,
because again, I was just hoping it would be kind of funny. Yeah, it's shot well. It has a very sincere story. I think I said to you in the commentary, I'm like, this is, if you pull all the weird stuff out, this is a story about a single father struggling to connect with a son who doesn't seem to like him very much because he's a stepfather.
Yeah.
That's it. That's this, and they treat it seriously. It's not a joke.
Yeah.
And the son is doing this thing where he's gonna do this dance interpretation thing, and he tries it and it fails, and then at the very end of the movie he's doing it, and Toxie is up there and he's really happy and like sincerely thrilled about it. Like, it's very, very emotionally
Oh yeah, they start calling him Toxie at the end there. Yeah.
Yeah. But they never treat him, like a joke. He's trapped in this body. He looks weird and strange. But the son is also an outsider, and so there is that kind. And they don't make a big deal of it. They don't say, "Oh well, I know what it's like to be an outsider." Like, they never make it stupid and blatant. You just make the connections yourself.
No,
But yeah,
and,
first,
and
you know,
it is
Dinklage is really kind of timid, and he's like trying really hard without trying to go overboard. Where he's like, I'm sure you'll be great, and he gets into a tutu and dances to show that you can look silly, and then that, of course, gets grafted onto him when he becomes the Toxic Avenger.
Oh yeah, he wears that tutu for most of the movie. Yep.
The whole movie almost. It's
Yep.
a really, and again, as Lando said, it is filmed very well. The effects
Yeah.
are great. They're
And it's
often
got
practical.
listen,
There's some
and there's
CG,
a
but
ton
not
of
much.
graphic, like gore and violence. That's there. I mean, he like when he starts using that fucking toxic mop and ripping people apart. That shit's pretty gory.
You will see two penises, one normal, one abnormal. That
Oh,
are going to be on
yeah.
screen. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Can't forget that. So
I
the
mean,
trauma
and I mean-
crassness is not missing. It's
No,
there.
there is a crassness in there, but it's like mixed in with everything else, and it all just, I mean, yeah, it's just. I don't know if you want to get into the juice of it and explain the story of it. I mean, the story is pretty straightforward. Like,
Oh yeah, no, it's as we said, the mother has died. So
Yeah.
Dinklage is playing the stepfather to this young man who clearly is struggling with I don't know what, but clearly is not just a standard student who's getting along with everybody. He's clearly a little different. Dinklage is working at BTH, I think, but total body total
the
health or
toxic
something,
the
PhD,
toxic
whatever.
chemical company. Yeah.
Some kind of new age tech bro health initiative, which is secretly doing all kinds of fucked up shit to his employees and experimentations and all the rest of it. And Kevin Bacon is the CEO. He has a brother who is played by Elijah Wood, who
Oh
looks
my
like a
God.
greasy hunchback. I
No,
don't
he
know how
looks
else to
like
describe him.
he looks like a young version of the Penguin from the Tim Burton Batman
Well,
Returns.
if the Penguin and Gollum got together and had a child, it would likely look like this, I guess. So it's sort of a nice little a mixture of dirty hunchback penguin man. And so Dinklage works there, finds out he's got some kind of serious brain injury. We never get the details on it because hilariously, every time the doctor tries to tell him, there is background construction work that is so loud you can't hear it, but you understand he's got, I think he says 3 months to live, maybe a year at best or something like that. And so he finds Kevin Bacon at a dinner of some kind and says, hey, my insurance is telling me I'm not gold level, I'm only platinum level, or the vice versa, I don't remember. Can you help me out? And Bacon says, oh yeah, we'll help you out. And of course they have no intention of it. And so he goes into the company after hours and is exposed to these toxic chemicals along with a mop that has some kind of super caustic, as the can says, liquid on it. And when he is thrown into some kind of vat of stuff by a band made up of every awful trope of music
every
you can
cliche
think of,
from like metal bands, yeah.
all over the range. Although I am really sad we didn't get more of the witch character because she was delightful and we barely get anything out of her.
Yeah,
But she did
and the
seem
chicken
most
head.
interesting.
Listen, we were so wondering what the fuck that chicken head. What was underneath?
We
it?
won't
And
tell you.
No,
You'll
no,
find
and
out for yourself.
it was well done. I mean, we were
Very well
both
done.
wrong.
Yes, I was completely wrong. I don't think either of us predicted it would be what it was.
No,
But
neither
he
of
is
us
thrown
did,
into
yeah.
these chemicals,
Yeah.
which you get this beautiful sequence where in the opening you see him like change. There's all this weird kind of Romero Creepshow effects work where it's bright colors and he's transforming. And he comes out and he is now the Toxic Avenger. So he is highly injury resistant. He has a mop that will take the bottom of your face off by barely touching you. And he is at first unwillingly starting to kind of fuck up bad people or scumbags. And then eventually he gets pissed off and starts this kind of thing where he's talking about the company and the fact
he
he's
realizes
doing bad
that
things.
he needs to be a hero for his son.
Yes,
That's what the one guy says to him.
reluctantly
Where he's
so.
like, yeah, the bank.
Yeah, at
listen,
first he's just
the
like,
bank
I just
robbery
gotta get fixed.
scene in this is fantastic.
Oh, it's great. It's great. And so eventually through a series of what at first are accidental encounters and then become more purposeful and forceful, he essentially wipes out this evil company and exposes what they're doing to the local community, who reveres him as a good guy as opposed to being repulsed by him. In fact, there's really very little negative reaction to his appearance, even when nobody knows who he is.
Well, in the beginning, they do try to burn him as a witch. Just to be clear.
Well,
When
that's
he
one
rips,
group of
when
people
he
form
rips
a mob.
the one guy, when he rips the one guy's arm off.
Yeah, well, there's a truck full of people who are the mob squad, and they just start distributing pitchforks. But it's just it's not the general public. When he gets up on stage at the band thing, they don't shriek and run away from him as if he's Frankenstein's monster.
But that's already after he's saved the people from the bank.
Oh yeah, no, I know, but still, they still could have played around with this idea that people were repulsed by.
No,
him. I thought they were
they're
gonna mess with
looking
that.
for,
They don't.
they're looking for an underdog hero, and he is that.
Yeah, they embrace him, and by the end of the movie, he has become this heroic character, and the son and he have connected now, and the end of it is the son doing the performance piece, and he's there watching it,
And then
he's
it's
very
got
happy, and
the
it's successful.
strangest end credits sequence I've seen in a movie.
Yeah, I've seen no real explanation on what this is, but after the credits, there's a 4 or 5 minute long sequence of Toxie making grilled cheese as the son dances in the background.
Yeah,
which is great.
And he just teaches you how to make grilled cheese sandwiches, and then eats it. That's it.
And he makes them in the way that my wife makes them, which is with mayo on them instead of butter. Which he even says, I don't know why I use mayo, but I just do it. And they make grilled cheese and they're eating it, and then the movie ends.
It's so much better.
It's very simple, like you said.
It's so much
But
better than it has any business being. But there's this idiocracy vibe through it as well.
Yeah, there's a part where there's somebody comes out, where he comes out of the place, and a cop starts firing at him and says, "Put up your hands," as he's firing.
No. There was when he goes in to talk to the CEO and he's talking to the police chief, and the police chief gets his hand on his gun and he goes, "I feel triggered," right, or something like that.
Yeah.
I feel threatened.
Yeah.
I feel threatened.
No, there's constant social satire that is very actively happening throughout the beginning of the movie. It falls away once the action picks up a little bit, but it's always kind of there. But it's definitely more present in the first half. Yeah. In the first half, it is everywhere in all different ways. Where the news reporter is jumping to kind of right wing conclusions on every news story, and the other one's like, "Can you calm down, Richard? It's not that." It's like a thing like that where he's like, "Oh, this must be Antifa or whatever." He's like just shooting out buzzwords and shit like that. And then, yes, as the movie goes on, it more focuses on Toxie and what he's doing, and so that's more background. But there's always, the whole town is run by this company, so everything's under construction all the time. All the construction is going wrong. There's problems related to it. You hear people breaking things. It's like, God damn it, you fucked it up again. But really, really quiet on the soundtrack, where you couldn't even miss it, but it's there. So if you don't have a good surround sound or headphones, you might not even hear what's happening, but there's all this stuff in the background that's going on.
I was so pleasantly surprised by this, and it makes me want to see this director do other shit. I mean, the shame
of it is that this movie is such a specific niche type of movie.
It is, yeah.
That people will write it off as, if they knew it's a remake of the original, they might undersell it to themselves. And honestly, it's not a general audience film, which is a shame because it's better than a lot of stuff that has better budgets than it does. And also, I do like the fact that as marketing for the movie, instead of spending, I don't know if you read this, instead of spending money on a big ad campaign, they donated money towards a charity that gets medical help to people who can't get insurance or something along those lines. Oh, so it even backs up what the movie's saying with its marketing, which is great. So I believe it is out on a 4K, which I will be buying. Or it will be shortly. I think it's not out. Yeah, right now it's only
the
on
woman.
stream,
And the woman who plays his body is Luisa Garradillo.
Yeah,
I think it's Garradillo. Yeah. She is.
She's great.
How tall she is? She's 4'9". There you go.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, she is taller than him. So.
Yeah, and she's done movies. If you look up her IMDb, she's done a lot of stuff. So, I'm trying to find.
There's a ton of people in it. It's very funny.
Mm-hmm. Very funny.
Yeah. I mean, like, funny. I think this is.
Here it is. $5 million of the advertising budget was given to Undo Medical Debt, a nonprofit that leverages donations to purchase qualifying medical debt for individuals 4 times or below the poverty level who have medical debt that is 5% more or more.
Oh, they buy it and then they basically just forgive it. Yeah.
they offset the debt.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is great.
But the guy who directed it, I think it's Mason Blair or Macon. I don't know if it's Macon or Mason.
Yeah, I think it is supposed to be Mason.
This
Blair, yeah.
is only his I think this is only his third movie that he directed.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty impressive. And the other two don't seem, these full length movies. One of them is an episode of a TV show. And then what was this? Is this a movie? And this is his second movie direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very good.
As
you said, far better than you would ever expect this movie to be.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it makes me
excited. That woman did some voices for Baldur's Gate 3, so we've heard this woman. She did several voices for it. She was, who was she in this thing? Let's see, it's got a bunch here. Bruja Oakhyde. I mean, these are probably voices we heard, and I just don't know them.
The Phantom Stranger. Apparently, this guy, Mason Blair, is one of the first actors to play the DC comic character, the Phantom Stranger, in a live-action adaptation. When did he do that? Because, that's the other weird thing, is that this guy has an acting career as well. Like,
yeah, that's interesting.
He's been in a ton of shit.
Yeah, I don't remember the Phantom Stranger ever being... Interesting. Yeah, I didn't even know that there was a live action version.
Yeah, so this is kind of an interesting dude that this is his second feature length film. It's this good.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy had a role in Oppenheimer.
Well, there you go.
Oh, geez, it's
a wonderfully made movie. I think that's
is
the greatest thing we can say about it. Is this movie is astonishingly well made for a Toxic Avenger remake. I just have to keep emphasizing that because you would expect next to nothing from it. Or that it would just be... Because I reviewed the Street Trash remake.
Yeah.
And Toxic Avenger and Street Trash are analogous. We will be watching Street Trash at some point, just so you can experience what that is. But the remake botches a lot of it because it doesn't know how to handle the serious stuff. And the humor was roughly 50-50. Whereas we were laughing actively throughout this movie at genuinely funny shit.
Yeah.
And that is unusual for me. I do not laugh throughout a movie very often. I will laugh at parts of movies. But the amount of jokes in this that land very well.
And the best part is, very often, they're not even in the foreground. They're in the background. Like, this is a movie that really allows itself... It allows you to get the joke if you're going to get it.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
And there's more of that towards the beginning, towards the end. Like you said, it gets more focused on the action, but even the action is pretty fun. I mean, there is an anti-Marvel aspect to this movie.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah.
There is. Yeah.
But I mean, like I said, this was so good that I'm so interested in what this director does next. Because he knows how to handle weird material like this. So
I think for me that the thing about it is just that I am still stunned at how much better this is than I would have expected that I would have enjoyed this movie. I actually thought there was a possibility that you would be bored with it, because I thought, okay, if this is just going to be running around and chopping people's heads off, well, that's going to get old. Unless you're really
but the way they use the graphic horror of it within the comedy of it.
Well, but it's also kind of it's very intentionally sprinkled through. It's not a complete gore fest.
No, it isn't. No.
And the acting is in the suit, out of the suit is excellent.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And the fact that they did that much work so that you do feel like if somebody had told you that it was Dinklage inside the costume, you would believe it.
When we watched, we were just talking about the Timekeepers, right? And how when we were watching Timekeepers, Bronson Pinchot, who's supposed to be like the lead, like he's the most interesting character. He's not the lead, but his acting is so bad in that, and it's kind of one of the things that, I mean, anything's hurt that, but it really hurts it, right?
Yeah.
Whereas like everybody in this is good. Everybody in this does their role, is funny, is not funny based on what they're doing. There was no point that I watched this and go, that person can't act. Like, I'm actually quite surprised by the amount of talent that they've got in this.
Yeah.
You know, especially like you said,
Yeah.
the fact that it's a remake of a really bad movie.
Yeah, because I mean, Elijah Wood, as I said on the commentary, and I said this to you, is he's been doing stuff like this, like kind of offbeat stuff. But honestly, I would imagine that when they went to Kevin Bacon, this is just a guess, because Kevin Bacon doesn't make a lot like this type of thing.
Not at all.
I would imagine
yeah.
if all that he did was watch the first one, he'd be like, okay, wait a minute, we need to have a meeting. What am I making here? And then once it was explained, I'm sure that's what sold him on it, because I cannot imagine most good actors watching the first one and saying, yeah, I want to be in a remake of this, because it's not a good movie.
No, I think that Dinklage and the director probably sold a lot of people on it.
I agree. I think that probably the script, when Dinklage read it, he went, okay, no, this is not a joke. This is not making fun. This is not ignoring the ridiculous elements, but making it that you don't care because the core character
using them as a
relatable
vehicle.
and sympathetic.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the thing, is if Dinklage's character was, as the first movie, just a loser, and that's where the first movie really, it does not do good characters.
He is a loser, but you know what? So this is the thing. You spend a half hour of this movie before the Toxic Avenger ever shows up. It's a half hour of this movie with Dinklage. And by the time he gets thrown in the vat, you are rooting for him. You feel bad for him. You want him to win.
But the difference is he's not a loser because of his character flaws.
No,
he's
he
a
isn't.
loser because he's getting assaulted by everything around him against
Yeah.
his best efforts, and he can't get ahead of it. That's
Yeah.
a completely different type of thing.
And
And
he's
that's
still
why it
trying.
works.
I mean, that's the other thing, is that he's still trying.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's covering up that he's ill from the son because the son lost his mother. Like, there's all this stuff that builds up that you are pulling for this character in whatever form he ends up in.
Yeah.
And that's where the movie succeeds, and that's why it works.
Oh, yeah.
So-
I mean, yeah.
It is, I mean, we're raving about it because it really is, it defies what you would expect. Even from the trailer, this is not what it looks like the movie's going to be. And I wonder if that's intentional to get people who just want the kind of stupid version.
I get the sense that they just didn't know. I mean, I said to you that this movie, for me, the closest creature to this that you could watch is Tucker and Dale vs. Evil. For
Sure.
me. Which is another horror comedy that's very gory, that does have kind of like a heart of gold to it, right? If you watch Tucker and Dale vs. Evil and you enjoyed it, then you will absolutely
love
enjoy
this.
this. Right?
Yeah.
I put them in, they are both perfectly in that horror comedy genre.
Yeah.
You know, with like a little bit of the gross out thrown in there just to kind of get you over the top.
I was going to say, or, if you like Shaun of the Dead, there's kind of this is a more over the top version, but there's that sensibility too, because Shaun of the Dead has has a decent amount of gore, but there's kind of a heart to it. That's what this is. There's gore, but again, it is more crass than Shaun of the Dead, but there is a kind of relationship there, in that Dinklage and the stepson are who you're pulling for. That's who you want to come out on top, and they do. So it's got a happy ending. And it isn't that he reverts back into his human form. That's what I thought they were going to pull. And I'm glad they didn't. He stays what he is. And everybody still loves him. Good. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, as soon as this hits 4K, I'll buy it. Because this is a movie I would go back to. It was such a good time. I would probably actually watch this with my wife. And I think she would actually like it once she realizes what it is. And there aren't a lot of movies like this. Like, I won't watch Street Trash with my wife. No. I know better. No. That movie is not like this. So, yeah, I think the fact that both of us were blown away by it is the biggest endorsement we could give it.
I hope that more people see this.
Well, it like, this is what I was telling you. It struggled for 2 years to get distribution. It got it, and it has been well received. So I think that's the important part is... It's never going to make Marvel dollars, just is not. It's not that type of movie. But the fact that it got released, that the reviews were generally very good, and people recognized... I don't necessarily blame people. Again, a remake of a trauma film does not sound good to me on the surface. Dinklage was the first inkling that there was something unusual about it. Because
There's
even I
something more
remember
to
when he
this,
was
yeah.
cast, I'm like, really? But I thought initially, okay, he's going to be in 3 scenes, and then they're going to transform him, and we'll never see him again. That was what I thought they were doing. It was like a gimmick thing, where they're going to pay him for 3 days worth of work. It happens a lot. And then he was going to be out of the movie, and the rest would be somebody in a suit. You know, and I actually thought originally they were going to have him get normal sized when he mutated, and that's how they would handle it. Which I didn't like the idea of, but this was in the early days. We were just sitting there going, why would Peter Dinklage be attached to the Toxic Avenger remake? This makes no fucking sense. Because as you said, he does do movies that are off the beaten path, but this is way off the beaten path. For Dinklage, who is a quality actor in almost everything, even the more minor stuff. So, stellar. Unfortunately, I know it's going to have a limited audience. It just, by its very nature, will. But if the trailer interests you even a little, and even if you don't like the first one and think it's stupid or dumb or trashy, which it's all.
You know what?
Things,
I wasn't a huge fan of the original.
No, I watched it once. I laughed at it. I went, okay, I know why people are attached to this. It's because people like to kind of attach themselves to trash art, and that's fine. But I never watched it again, and I've never had the desire to watch. I've watched it one time my whole life, and I have zero interest in ever watching it again. I get it. I get the joke. It's good once. It's done. You know? And that's it. It's kind of like The Sixth Sense. I've never watched The Sixth Sense again. I don't need to. I know what it is. I saw it. It's a well-made movie. The gimmick worked, but it worked once. And I don't need the mystery. This mystery box has been opened. I'm done. Thank you. Goodbye. So
the question is,
essentially what I'm saying is the Toxic Avenger and Sixth Sense are the same movie.
Do you think that would you watch more?
If everybody was, the same people were involved the same way.
Yeah.
Yes. If not, no. I mean, unless I suddenly see reviews that say, yeah, you know what? They still held true to what the first remake was. The heart's still there. But I mean, I can't imagine it without Dinklage's voice.
No. If they did another one and it was the same people, everyone came back.
If it's all the same, I would absolutely give it a shot. Yeah.
I would. The only fear with all of this is always that, will they, can they do it right? Could they do it right again?
Well, you didn't ask me if I thought it was necessary.
No, I don't think it's necessary.
I don't.
Yeah. But if they did.
No, I agree. I think, and I hate to say this in a sense.
Yeah.
Because I don't want it to be in any way misread as rooting for failure, because it's not that. But I think beneficially for the movie itself and its kind of impact, its very limited nature and the struggle it had the first time probably means it will not be sequelized, because it took them 2 years to get this thing out, knowing that the audience would be limited. Would somebody really back a sequel, knowing that there was the potential that somebody might not pick it up and it could just sit on a shelf? Would you spend the money? Probably not. So in some ways, its very limitations in terms of mass market appeal may benefit us as the viewers that will only have the one and done that's excellently made. That is a warped thing to say, because it sort of sounds like I'm saying I'm glad it didn't do better numbers. But I think the recognition will be seen. And so Dinklage isn't going to have a problem finding work. Neither is Kevin Bacon. They're fine. So I'm not worried about them. But I think this director will be recognized. Again, all you have to say is it's a remake of The Toxic Avenger, and it's got heart, and it's well made.
Yeah, it was
and
fantastic.
Just that, without ever seeing it, should get somebody to say, well, we're interested in this person then.
Yeah.
And the woman who's in the suit, well, she seems to be getting work all over the place. So obviously,
if you look at her, IMDb, she's very busy.
No, she was in Wicked. She's been in stuff both in prosthetics and outside. So obviously, her ability, like Dinklage, is known. So I don't think anybody in this movie is not going to get more work. And so I hope there is not a sequel. I mean, if everybody came back and they all said, yes, we have a great idea, we know what to do with it, okay, I'd wait till it came out and see what the reviews were. But I kind of hope it just sits as its own thing. Just much as I would love to have seen a Buckaroo Banzai sequel. I also am kind of glad there never was one. Because I don't know that you ever do that again. I know they planned one. Would everybody have come back? Would it have worked a second time? I have no idea. So I'm sort of glad that instead of getting an inferior sequel, that we just have the magnificence that is the one Buckaroo Banzai movie. In a similar vein, we have this one Toxic Avenger remake. Now, if they want to try to remake other Trauma properties that are shittier...
Are there other Trauma properties worth remaking?
I'm sure there are, yeah. I mean, Trauma made so many movies. Could I see somebody saying, this movie sucked as it was, but we can make a good version of it? I would almost be interested in the same group of people remaking different ones and trying to inject the same sincerity into them. Kind of like there's that one series, I don't remember who was involved, where every season they did a different thing. But it was the same creators making, it was on HBO or something, or maybe it was on Netflix, where they did a different concept every time. So the first time it was like a fantasy series, and then it was like a sci-fi series.
Oh, wait, that's the one with Daniel Radcliffe.
Yeah, that's it. Whatever
the first one was like they were working for God, and it was the end of the world.
That's it. Yeah, whatever that was. But people said that actually worked. That concept worked. That they
had the same people, and they just moved them around. And then one was in like the medieval period, and then one was like a post-apocalyptic.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yes.
And you know what? Say what you will for Daniel Radcliffe, he did some fucked up shit in that show.
That's where he and Elijah Wood seem to follow a similar thing, where they're willing to experiment with things that are not necessarily, like, okay, so I'm just looking through the Trauma stuff. Like Nukem High, like Class of Nukem High. That could be remade into something that had an environmental focus, similar to this, with a lot of satire on, polluting the environment, that type of thing. Class of Nukem High is not a great movie. I wouldn't touch any of the sequels, but the first one is interesting. There is stuff in here that, sure, Surf Nazis Must Die. You could remake that. There's so many movies in here that, Jesus, you could probably find a few more that would be... Romeo and Juliet is probably the one that most people regard as their best movie in terms of all of it. But, is it really? Sergeant Kabuki Man NYPD just got a 4K release. That would be an interesting one to see what they did with that. There's movies in here that this isn't even a complete list. There's got to be 40 movies just here that they made. I'm sure you could figure out how to remake some of these movies that people like. Combat Shock. It's an exploitation war film. I've heard this one is an interesting idea that they didn't do correctly. Okay, there you go.
Well,
it's about war.
No matter what, this movie is incredible.
Yeah. So
I'm
yes,
happy
I would recommend to anybody who's even mildly interested from the trailer.
Yeah.
If it piqued your interest at all, watch it. Simple as that. It is so much better, as Lando said, it is so much better than it either has a right to be or that any rational person would ever expect.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding when I'm still stunned at the remake of the fucking Toxic Avenger is a good movie. Those are words, a great movie, really. I shouldn't even say good. It's a great movie. And to be fair about it, some of it is the seismic shock of where it started and where it ended up. Because remakes this is why we say remakes should be of bad movies. Mm-hmm. Or movies that weren't properly made, because that's where the quality jump is noticeable, and it is extremely noticeable.
Yeah.
So I can't pretend it's a family film. It's not. But
oh no, not at all. Yeah.
But I would encourage anybody who's even mildly interested. It is not just a schlock shock film. It is actually a movie made with a lot of specific, intentional sincerity, earnestness. There's a sweet nature to the fucking Toxic Avenger movie. Again, a sentence I didn't expect to be saying out loud in reality. But it is actually a very sweet movie about a stepfather who is struggling to connect with his son and discovers in the process of that and confronting what seems like an entire world that's against him, that there is a hero within. Now that sounds like a Disney cartoon that I just described. But no, it is the Toxic Avenger remake. That's the movie. I don't know what else we could say. It's great. It should be watched. Hopefully it is found by an audience and embraced the same way that, like I said, I'm going to buy it because I want to support it in every way I can. So I will buy it once it's out on a 4K. I look forward to seeing it in 4K HDR because I'm sure there's a lot of colors. I'm sure they're going to look great. So on that note.
Yeah, and this stands the fact that Dinklage is still great. I mean, he still picks good projects.
And again, I'm glad it wasn't a 3-day, film a couple scenes in the beginning, vanish from the movie, and then they turn him back into him at the end type of thing.
No, he's in it.
Easily could have been.
Essence of him is in through all of this.
But you know what? We watched the what is Beyond the Door 3, the train, the killer train movie, right?
Yeah.
The guy who plays Hot Soup Man, right? Hot Soup guy. That is like a 3-day shoot. They had him at the beginning and at the end. That guy was a known actor. They paid for him to be around for a couple of scenes, and then he disappears until most of the movie's over with, and he shows back up. And they obviously filmed all of that at the same time, and they just chopped it.
Yeah.
And that's what I thought this was going to be. And instead, as you're saying, we're saying here, Dinklage is involved. He is committed to this movie. And when you watch it, you understand why. If it was a cash grab piece of shit movie, he would have done his paycheck. He would have been in and out. There would have been no care, no extra effort, no attempt to synchronize the performances and redub the voice. That all would have been just whatever. They would have just rolled with whatever it was. Instead, I think he read it, saw that there was something real inside this kind of ridiculous. Literally, it is the Toxic Avenger. The film is the character. The exterior is weird and strange and doesn't appear like it has a sincere heart inside, and yet it does. The movie is the character. The character is the movie. So there's something again this week for everybody. Action fans, weird art house freaks like me, and people who just want a nice, sweet movie about a mutated stepfather who wants to support his son's musical theater ambitions. So whatever you do with your weekend, you have a wide selection. Enjoy it, and we'll talk to you again next week. Visit OzoneNightmare.com to subscribe to new episodes, browse through our back catalog, or to find links to support the show. Follow @OzoneNightmare on Twitter for the latest episode postings and other show information. If 280 characters just isn't enough, you can always email us, theozonenightmare@gmail.com. The opening theme for the show is provided by Heartbeat Hero. The closing theme is provided by Ogre. Please visit and support these artists using the links in the show notes for each episode.